Hey guys, sorry, I forgot to add myself to the stream. Hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody has had a good week since we were here, what, Monday? Yeah, we were here Monday. Sorry, we were here Monday, so I hope everybody has had a good week. It's been okay here. September's a hard month for our family, but we make it. We will make it. It's hot in here again. I apologize. I should have put my hair up because I'm burning up already. But anyway, I'm glad to see everybody here. And please, I believe I have Timmy, this one pinned to the top of the chat. Please, if you haven't already, please sign the petition to open Timmy D's case. Very important. If you've already signed, please share it anywhere and everywhere you can. And also put the link is also in the description box for the stream. And if you don't know about Timmy's case, I saw Miss Barbara was here earlier. She may be back. Please do check out. I've done live streams and videos on Timmy's case. Arctic Fox True Crime has done. Mr. Steve at True Crime Web has done covered Timmy's case. The Lawless Files have helped out a lot with Timmy's case. So I encourage you, please do everything you can to share Timmy, his case, the petition. Very important, very important. And Mr. Steve actually, and I was going to put a link to it in the description box tonight, but you can find it on my community tab. Mr. Steve did an excellent, encouraging update on Timmy's case and the Durante Martin case, both from Fredericktown, Missouri. So I encourage you to please go watch it. I was excited when I heard it. Hopefully things are going to be moving forward in both of those cases. Absolutely. Also, please do, if you haven't already signed, Arctic Fox True Crime has a petition to standardize and improve the Amber Alert system, which is, in my opinion, very, very much needed. So please do check it out. It is at the top of the chat. Plus, it is linked. Excuse me. It is linked in the description box. I can't talk. I can't use my words as usual. It is linked in the description box. And it is also in the description box of my channel. See who was here. Miss Ange checked in earlier. She said she was on the road for a much needed rest, relaxation. Absolutely, Miss Ange. We hope you're doing well. Yeah, sometimes we just have to take a break sometimes and get away from it and then get back to it. Yeah, let's say Miss Barb checked in. She says she would be back. Always a absolute pleasure and an honor to have Miss Barbara here. Get a look see is here. Mr. Lance Jones, one of our Canadian friends, is here. Hey Lance, how are you doing? Good to have you here. As Paula said, she will be over here in a little while. I know where she's at right now, or not exactly where she's at, but she's and I have to get her to send me the link. She's actually on a movie channel watching a live stream, so I have to get her to give me the link to that because I definitely want to check it out. Yes, Miss Donna is here for Missing and Not Forgotten. Please, if you're on Facebook, do check out Miss Donna. It's a group. She runs a ton of groups, but I absolutely know she is involved with the Missing and Not Forgotten Facebook group. So please do check it out. Chris Gideon is here. Good to have you here, Chris, as always. Miss Kimber checked in. Please do check out she's usually on with Salty Sleuth Investigates. Excellent work on that channel too. Please check out Salty Sleuth and Miss Kimber. Let's see who else. Miss Farr is here from Australia. Hello, Farr. How are you doing? Our gifting angel is here again. Thank you so much for Monday night, I believe it was. She Farr gifted, I think, 9 or 10 memberships to the channel, and plus all the other people donated also. So I appreciate each and every one of you for gifting memberships, donations. I couldn't do it without you guys. Absolutely not. Let's make sure I haven't missed anybody. We got some true crime news, or updates in some cases, or I don't know if it's updates. Okay, Miss Kimber says she will be back at showtime. Excellent. Some updates, some new not breaking news. Well, it was breaking at the beginning of the week, but breaking news in some cases that we'll take a look at tonight. Just making sure I got everybody in here. Chris said he is enjoying the weather. Absolutely. Our weather here in Arkansas has been hot. It hasn't felt like fall yet. Supposed to cool down again this week. I think maybe Monday. I think the heat index for today was 104. I think it got up to. I don't know what the actual temperature was, but heat index was 104. So I'm ready for some. I'm ready for some fall. What little bit of spring and or fall weather we get here in Arkansas usually goes from either blazing hot to cold for Arkansas. Usually it's no in between, very little in between. And we're fixing to go into our second, what they call our second severe weather season here, or a severe weather season for what they call Dixie Alley, which is a little bit more east. So hopefully, I mean, there were times when I was a kid that we would be in the storm cellar dodging tornadoes, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. But you know, I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. Yep. Lance said earlier, wow, everyone is here tonight. Great. Absolutely. Like I said, I always love having everybody here. He also said that Canada is already getting colder. Yeah, I have a brother and sister-in-law that live in Minnesota. I don't know if they're starting to cool off yet, or I know it's either this week or last week they were supposed to have some storms up that way. Yeah, it says let it rain. Absolutely. We can always use rain. Miss Paula says she likes my music for my intro. Thank you, ma'am. Miss Mitzi Scott is here. She snuck in on me. She says, hello, Southern Gal. Good evening, all. Hello, Mitzi. Good to have you here. I always love having everybody here. Vid Inquiries is here. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. I apologize for the sniffling, but apparently as I get older, I used to just get allergies and stuffy nose really bad in the summertime with all the pollen and the dust, but now it's year round. So yes, Miss Kimber is back. Welcome back, Miss Kimber. She says the Amber Alert system is badly broken. I agree. I just don't, I understand there's criteria that as of now set in place for what constitutes who can be put up for an Amber Alert, but I agree with Arctic and probably a lot of people here. It has to be more uniform, more standardized, and I don't know. But it definitely is broken. I agree with you. Just making sure I got everybody in. Oh, awesome. Miss Kimber says she is co-hosting with Miss Sunshine at Mind of Monsters now when she goes live. I did not know she was going live. So everybody, I'll have to be on replay crew. But everybody do check out Mind of Monsters as well. Absolutely fantastic. Fantastic human being, does good work. Yes, Miss Barbara says Missing and Not Forgotten is amazing. Absolutely. They are. Oh, now get a look, see a scene. Now that song is going to be stuck in my head. Talking about far. She came from the land down under. I'm going to be singing some Men at Work here in a minute. Vid Inquiry says the weather in Ohio was beautiful today. Excellent, excellent. Vid says they are, if I can get enjoying the warm as it technically still summer. Yep, I'm tired. I think I was over summer before it even began. Because once again, the older I get, apparently I can't take the heat anymore. heat, growing up in the South, heat never bothered me. Humidity never bothered me. But as I'm getting older, can't take it anymore. I've never liked the cold at all. Maybe when I was a kid and the few times that it snowed here in Arkansas, I enjoyed playing in the snow. But okay, Miss Kimber says if they do a live, it will be a late one. Okay. But definitely check it out. I will definitely check it out. And I encourage, like I said, anybody else, please do check it out. Vid says she and the hubby are both sniffly today. Saline nose drops have helped. Yeah, I'm going to have to try something. I usually take a antihistamine, a Benadryl, or some kind of, I can't remember the name of anyway, over-the-counter stuff. But Bling is here. Welcome back, Bling. Good to have you here. Bling does excellent work, too. Excellent advocate. I know she's helped Miss Barbara a lot with Timmy's case and other Fredericktown, Missouri cases. We love you too, Miss Paula. Miss Paula says, love you guys. We love you too. All right, I'm almost caught up and we'll get started. Thought I missed something. Okay. Oh. Now Lance has got Vegemite sandwiches. Anyone? I still have not figured out what Vegemite is. Is it something sweet? Is it like, I don't know what it is. Is it like meat, or somebody will have to explain exactly what Vegemite is to me. All right. I think I'm caught up. So first, I guess I can bring up my slideshow. Like I said, tonight, I've got a cold case, remains that are human remains that were found that have been identified, came back to a cold case missing person. They're having, we got the news this week or this past weekend. I forget which day it was now. The remains found were Elijah Vu's in that case. They are having a candlelight vigil, I think, next Saturday or Sunday. So I just had an article I wanted to read to you about that. It's been, I think in February, trying to keep my cases straight. I think in February, it's been 15 years since little Haleigh Cummings disappeared. And they released a new age progression photo for her. So I have an article about that, and then talk about this, what we think about these developments in the Asha Degree case. Because I don't think I've done any videos on Asha's case, but even before I started my channel, I was reading up on that case, and it's been over 24 years in that case now. And earlier this week, there were some developments in that, or I think it actually started maybe last weekend or this past weekend. So we'll talk a little bit about Asha's case, and then you guys can catch me up on anything I've missed on any other cases, anything that's come out, because between work and things going on, real life going on, I haven't had a whole lot of time to stay caught up. But quickly, before we get into, I was actually watching, because me and my mom watch On Patrol Live. It comes on Reel's channel. I don't know if anybody else here watches it, but we love it. We've been watching it since I think it started out on A&E channel, I think. Anyway, we were watching, we have some DVR that we haven't watched yet, so we was watching the episode from last week, and they always feature a missing person. They usually have somebody from Nick Meck on there. And this one caught my eye. Leandra Dotson is who they featured, because I had not, usually most of the time, because they usually feature children, obviously. And my mom will turn and look at me and said, you know about this one already, don't you? And I'll usually say, yeah. But this one, actually, Leandra, I had not heard of about. So I wanted to feature her tonight. She's been missing since May 23rd of this year from Waco, Texas. She is just 15 years old. She's 5 foot. I'm trying to read the very small writing. because I did not email myself any of this stuff to put it on the big screen. She's 5'10", 140 pounds, a black female, black hair and brown eyes. She was last seen, I think I'm going to have to read this from memory. I think it says with curly hair. She was wearing a scarf around her head. She had on, I believe, blue jean shorts, a t-shirt or a hoodie. It didn't say what color, I don't think. And a black Crocs style shoes. So, and this is, I made this flyer. It's not an official flyer. I made it up because I tried to find a flyer for her, and unfortunately I couldn't find one. So I'd made this one up, but all the information, the picture and all the information from it came from NCMEC. So all the information is correct. I did post it on my community tab, on here, and then I posted it, on Facebook to my personal profile page and to a bunch of the groups I'm in. So please do share it anywhere and everywhere you can. I believe they said she would possibly, another one of those cases where she possibly met somebody, an older man, online. And there's some possible, not confirmed, possible sightings of her still around the Waco area with an older man. So this is one that we really need to get out, to bring Leandra home safely and quickly. So I just wanted to share that with you. All right, let me get back in comments for a minute. Oh, I forgot to, hold on. Multitasking. So if I don't take that down now, I'll forget, and I'll have it blocked for the whole show. I'm caught up in comments again. Yes, Miss Barbara says, please hit that thumbs up button. Absolutely. Helps the, supposedly helps the algorithm. We'll do anything we can for this information to get, reach as many people as possible. Hit the thumbs up button. Leave a comment after the stream. If you're watching on replay, thank you for all of my replay crew. We love you. Share, share, share. That's the most important thing anybody can do is share these missing posters, this information about the missing. Live streams, recordings, videos, that everybody does. That is the most important thing that we can do. All right. So first, before we, and this isn't, I chuckle, but it's not funny. It's actually kind of horrifying. But I saw this actually on when it happened. I think it was maybe last Sunday. Yeah, last Sunday morning. In Bedford, Ohio, apparently an 8-year, think back to when you were 8 years old. I know for me that was a very long time ago, but an 8-year-old girl drove to the local Target, and I think I'm going to read the article. I think it was like 10 or 15 miles. It would have been about a 10 or 20 to 25 minute drive. 8 years old. Like I said, it's horrifying, and I just want to know, once again, we don't blame around here, but who was supposed to be watching after this 8-year-old child? I believe it was a she, and obviously somebody didn't drop the ball somewhere, and an 8-year-old ended up 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away at a Target, driving a car. So this, hopefully it'll come up, is what happened. Like I said, it was this was posted, or this article is from the 16th of September. So it was last Sunday. Bedford police reported that they found an 8-year-old girl. She was safe, thank goodness. And she was shopping after they said she took a car and drove on busy roads to the local Target. On Sunday morning, hold on, getting rid of some ads. There we go. On Sunday morning, police took a call for a missing child. As they began to investigate, police also took a call, a quote, concerning a small child driving east on Rockside Road. Officers eventually found the car in the parking lot of the Target store in Bainbridge, and then the police then found the child inside of the store. Almost passed it. Although the exact, sorry, ads keep popping up. Although the exact route the child took is not clear, Google Maps shows that the store is more than 10 miles from where the child was reported missing and about a 20 to 25-minute drive. So that is just, I keep saying it, but it is horrifying. Horrifying. She told officers during her travels that she struck a mailbox. The girl's relatives were called to the store to get her and the vehicle. And the police told a local news outlet that the girl is too young to charge criminally. Well, duh. And they are grateful that no one was injured. So, like I said, think back to when you were, I know at 11 or at 8 years old, I definitely was not thinking about getting in the car and driving somewhere. Scary, scary stuff. I just want to know who was supposed to be responsible for watching this child. But anyway, yeah, like I said, definitely scary. All right, make sure, I think I'm still caught up. Make sure, just make sure I'm gonna check the comments on my phone, make sure, okay. Sometimes the computer is slow and it doesn't toss up the comments. All right, let me get this one loading. So this is one, this next thing that we're gonna talk about, get the article loading, is a cold case, or a missing person. There's a, hello, Dave. Good to see you, my friend. Dave is here. I don't know if he's working tonight. Yep, there he goes. I knew that was coming. He is listening and driving. Always good to have Dave listening. Absolutely. Please do check out On the Prowl. Dave does an excellent, for anybody new that's maybe listening or here or listening replay, Dave does very late night, Saturday night, or how you look at it, depending on how you look at it, early Sunday morning live streams. He does the Weekend True Crime. He talks about cold cases, anything that's going on. He does an excellent job. So please do check out Dave. You can find, and all these other creators, for the most part, all the creators that are here and who pop in from time to time, you can go to the homepage of my channel, scroll down to where it says visit our friends below, and all the channels our friends are listed there. Please encourage you to check out every one of them. They do wonderful, wonderful work. All right, so this article is from the 3rd of this month, September 3rd, or this year, excuse me, September of this year. A suspected homicide victim identified 31 years after human remains were found by children in an Indiana field. Okay, scroll past 20 pages of ads here. So human remains discovered 31 years ago south of Indianapolis have been identified as a man from South Carolina, according to authorities. Relatives of Michael Benjamin Davis, and that is a younger picture of him. I don't know if it says in this article, but in one of the articles I read, that said the last picture that his parents had of him before he went missing, and I believe he was in his 20s when he went missing, was this picture, and he was like 15 or 16. So that was the last picture they had of him, but that is him. They lost contact with him. Once again, ads are popping up. They lost contact with him in the late 1980s. This is according to the Johnson County Coroner's Office. In 1993, children found the remains in a field near Interstate 65 in what is now a golf course. Greenwood, Indiana, according to Othram, which is a lab that works with police to assist in human identification cases. The remains were taken to the University of North Texas, where Othram said it was determined that the individual was a male under 30 years old who was between 4'10" and 5'4". Despite extensive efforts by law enforcement investigators to identify the man, no matches were found. The case went cold due to lack of leads. And decades later, DNA testing and genealogy work helped scientists determine the identity of the remains. Once again, according to the coroner's office said in a written statement. They said, although this case has long been suspected of having been a homicide, the cause and manner of death have been ruled undetermined unless more information is discovered. Davis was born in Richland County, South Carolina in 1965, and he would have been in his mid-20s at the time of his death. This is according to Othram. Davis's family plans to travel to Indiana to collect the remains and speak to news media Thursday. And this was, like I said, at the beginning of September. Make sure I didn't skip any. So once again, I'm going to go on the assumption genetic genealogy has been used to identify the remains of a missing person. So we're always, as Miss Barbara says, it's bittersweet, but it's always good when a missing person, especially in these cold, old cases, is identified to bring the family some closure, to give them, so they can bring him home, bring their loved one home, give them a proper burial, and try to not get on with their life, but get on with it the best that they can. Absolutely, we understand, Dave. Dave says he can't say hi to everyone he's driving. Absolutely, be careful driving. I tell you that all the time. Thank you, Miss Kimber. Thank you so much, just as putting in links for me. She's got Dave's link. Thank you so much, ma'am. Absolutely. Once again, please hit that, smash that like button. Absolutely. So yes, it's good. Absolutely good to have a little bit of good news in these cases. And I forgot to look at I got the ball game going, the Nebraska-Illinois ball game going, and I forgot to check. It may be halftime. I think it was tied up when I first started. I think it was 10-10. Let's see what it is right quick. Yes, absolutely. Miss Barbara said that's the only words you have, bittersweet. I'm so grateful I only had to wait 5 months. Absolutely. And Miss Barb, you and the whole family are always in our thoughts and prayers, and sending out good vibes to you guys. Most definitely. Well, I'm trying to see if they'll show the score for the ball game here. I think they're still at halftime. All right. Right. So let me get this article loading right quick. I'm not even going to say it, because if I say it, everything will start screwing up. It'll turn into a dumpster fire. Let me get that loading. Thank you, Dave. Dave said he's going to tell all the owls that we all said hi. Yes, tell the owls we said hi. Absolutely. For some reason, why did it do that? Hold on. Okay, that was the last comment. I don't know why my comments aren't popping up. I'm still looking for it was 17-10. I'm trying to see who was winning. Now they're talking heads are still talking. Nebraska is winning 17-10 right now. At the beginning of the second half. Okay. Enough about football. Let me see if my article is loaded. All right, so Haleigh Cummings, show of hands, or anybody who's comment if you've heard of this case. And I remember, I'll have to go way back and check. I think I did, hold on 1 minute. I did maybe do, sorry, I'm trying to get this sweat off my glasses are slipping down. Okay. I'm trying to think if I did a video on Haleigh's case. If it was one of the very first videos I did. Because like I said, I believe it was in February of 2000. She disappeared in, hold on, before I start spewing stuff, that this year, 2024, has been 15 years. And I didn't realize it had been that long. 15 years since little Haleigh went missing. And on February of this year, my channel turned a year old. So I might have done a video right when I started doing my channel. Chris says that he has heard of Haleigh's case. Thank you very much. And the on the slide there, the left-hand side is little Haleigh when she disappeared. She was 5 years old. She disappeared from Florida, and I believe the age progression photo, that one is to 20 something, 25 maybe, 22, 25. No, can't be that old. Hold on, let me do my math. 20, it had to be 20 years or so. So this article is from February of this year. Saturday, when this was written, marks 15 years since an Amber Alert was issued for 5-year-old Haleigh Cummings, who disappeared from her Satsuma home in Putnam County. And once again, this is out of Florida. Authorities said that she was a kindergarten student at Browning Pierce Elementary School when authorities began searching for her on February 10th of 2009. Excuse me, 2009. She disappeared. Of 2009. Misty Crosland, who is Ronald Cummings, Haleigh's father, who was Ronald Cummings' girlfriend, was babysitting her at the time. She was the last person to see her on February 9th. The Putnam County Sheriff's Office said Crosland reported Haleigh missing, which launched a manhunt for Haleigh. Haleigh's disappearance garnered national attention, but she still has not been found. Her case remains one of Florida's, it says 7 unsolved Amber Alerts. Rolling past ads. So Haleigh will be 20 years old today, or in 2024. Crime Stoppers of Northeast Florida is offering a reward of $15,000 for helping to find Haleigh. The Sheriff's Office said in a statement online in 2022, we do not forget, where's the rest of it? We do not forget. So this was a statement online, and that along with an image of Haleigh at 5 and an age progression photo what she looked like at 12. This one is the newest one that they put out, I believe, in 20 years old or so. She would be in college now, technical school, or possibly starting a job. Those opportunities, such as graduating high school, surrounded by family and friends, was stolen from her. Absolutely. Misty Crosland, and her former husband, Ronald Cummings, who is Haleigh's father, have never been charged in Haleigh's disappearance. However, they both began serving prison sentences for substance trafficking in 2010. Haleigh's father was released from prison in October of 2022. According to Florida Department of Corrections, Misty Crosland is expected to be released on June 10th, 2031. 2 months after his release from prison in December of 2022, Ronald Cummings was arrested again, accused once again of substance possession and violently resisting an officer. He has been in Putnam County Jail since his arrest. In the years since Haleigh's disappearance, Nick Meck has released 2 age progression photos of her, of one of what she would look like at age 8 and one what she would look like at age 12. In 2019, Action News sat down with the lead detective in her case, Captain Dominic I'm trying to butcher this name, Dominic Piscatello, with the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. He has since retired. But he said it's kind of saddening because we haven't figured it out. This is a place where a little girl went missing from, an innocent child that had no control over anything in her life. She was merely a mechanism of her family, and she is potentially gone because what her family was or wasn't doing. They did not keep her safe. I have to say once again, they have never been charged in regards to Haleigh's case, but they were the last ones to see her, and they were in charge of making sure of her safety. In 2020, Action News Jacksonville talked to Haleigh's great grandmother, Annette. At that time, she was dying of stage 4 cancer, and her final wish was to find out what happened to Haleigh, to her great granddaughter. She said, I don't have much longer, and I want to know where she is and what happened to her before I pass away. I just want that little bit of peace, that little bit of knowledge. That is all I'm asking for. And that's all any of these families, of these missing children, missing persons, victims of violent crime, that's all they want, is just to know what happened or where their loved one is. Hopefully, I'm sure they also obviously want justice also. But yeah, sometimes just knowing what happened or where their loved one is, it makes, all the difference in the world. And unfortunately, Haleigh's great grandmother passed away in May of 2023. Unfortunately, without knowing what happened to little Haleigh. If you have any information that could help find Haleigh, you're asked to call 911 or the Putnam County Sheriff's Office at 888-277-8477 or 386-329-0800. I thought it had, that might have been another article. I guess it didn't, that went into the circumstances of her disappearance. But if I remember correctly, they said her father was at work. The father's girlfriend, Misty, said, I believe, that she had put Haleigh to bed, and then maybe a couple of hours later, she went to bed with her. I don't know if it's in the same room, same bed. I'm trying to grab it, my mental sticky notes. And then when she got up a few hours later or the next morning, she said Haleigh was gone. The back door, I believe it was a trailer, the back door was propped open with like a brick, I think it's not a brick, a small brick, but one of the big concrete bricks. So that was, and there was some other stuff in the house that police said didn't look right. I believe her story kept changing about what happened. So lots of red flags in this case. So 15 years this year. So I just wanted, I came across this article and this age progression photo, the newest one from NCMEC. So I just wanted to share that because it jogged my memory a little bit about Haleigh's case when I came across this article. I think it came up in my Google newsfeed. So I just want to get her name and her face back out there to find out what happened to her. And please, like I said, share. Most important thing we can do is share these stories, and all the if you don't want to share the live stream, all the links to all the articles that I use with the information, all the articles are linked in the description box. Please share the articles, Facebook or wherever, or any social media platform, or here on YouTube. You can share the links, and if you have a community tab to help get this information out to as many people as possible. Get caught up in comments right quick. See if anybody snuck in on me. Miss Ryu, sorry, I say Miss Ryu snuck in. So it says it's too long been gone. These precious ones, Elijah, absolutely. Haleigh, yeah, Summer Wells, so strange, prayer needed. Thanks, Carmen. Absolutely. Good to have you here, Ryu. Absolutely. Get caught up. Everybody agrees. Chris agrees. Paula. Yes, Mitzi says it is heartbreaking. Absolutely. Chris says Haleigh's case kind of reminds him of Lisa Irwin. That name is familiar. I'm gonna have to look at that one again. I know I've heard that name. Yes, there is absolutely lots of red flags in Haleigh's case. I'll grab a drink right quick. And like I said, Misty's story kept changing. I'm just trying to remember, refresh my memory. Off the top of my head, her story kept changing. Like I said, there was another thing that obviously was odd to me when I first read the story. I think I watched maybe a documentary or something on ID channel or one of the stations, 2020, 48 hours, something about her disappearance. And I said, I believe it was a trailer they lived in and a cinder block. That's what I was trying to think of. It just popped in my head. The door had been propped open with a cinder block. So that was very red flaggy. And I believe they said the bedroom, they had like mattress. I think I'm trying to picture it. They had mattresses, a big, like a bigger mattress on the floor. And then they had maybe like a twin size mattress or smaller. They're in the same room. And when they looked, were doing forensic work, it looked like in their opinion, the authorities said that looked like furniture and stuff had been moved around. I'm trying to think if one of the smaller mattress was gone or not. It might not have been, but yeah, there was lots and lots of very suspicious stuff. Oh, Vid says they happened to drive through Bedford today. Yep. So that was where the little 8-year was that where the little 8-year-old let me go back. Yes, that was where the little, oh my God, the little 8-year-old girl got in the car and drove to Target. That still blows my mind. Yes, absolutely tragedy. All right. I think the score on the ball game is still the same. All right. I think I'm caught up. Take that down or I will forget. All right. So like I said earlier, we know that get the article going. A little Elijah Vu. I'm sure most everybody here or watching replay has definitely heard of this case. His remains were positively identified, and they are going to have a. Let me get the article up. These ads drive me nuts. They're going to have a candlelight vigil for him. I know the article will say, I think it's next weekend. This article is from the 19th. A virtual candlelight vigil is being planned for 3-year-old Elijah Vu, whose remains were found just outside of Two Rivers earlier this month. The vigil is planned through Facebook events by Jessica Erspalmer and Pam Brotzman, and is going to be from 6 to 10 p.m. on the September 27th. So what is today? 20. Yeah, so next Friday. Oops, if I can do that without putting this in the dumpster fire. I was touching my phone. So that's next Friday, 6 to 10 p.m. I don't know what time zone that is. I don't know what time zone Ohio is in. So the vigil, okay, the event states, let us all come together and honor this sweet young boy whose life was taken way too soon at the hands of monsters. During the time posted, light a candle, turn on a blue light, anything to help remember this sweet child. That picture that they included on this just breaks my heart. After a nearly 7-month search for Elijah, who was reported missing February 20th, the Two Rivers Police Department confirmed that remains found on September 7th on private property did belong to Elijah. The Two Rivers Chief of Police, Benjamin Minor, said this is not the outcome we had hoped for. The family is devastated. Our community is devastated. The Amber Alert for Elijah, which had been active since February 20th, was canceled after the press conference. The wide-ranging search for Elijah included everything from canvassing of urban and rural area neighborhoods, searches of rivers, shores, a landfill in Calumet County, and a farm waste container in Manitowoc County, aerial searches using drones, canine teams, checking and rechecking all these areas, searches by horseback, a rural farmland, an investigation in Wisconsin Dells, where Elijah lived with his 31-year-old mother, Katrina Bauer, and the analysis of extremely large amounts of video data. And they found lots and lots, or horrible, I think it was on his phone, on Jesse Vane's phone, or I don't know, horrible pictures of Elijah. Community members and family related to Elijah held volunteer searches of public property throughout Manitowoc County and Wisconsin. Sorry, I said Ohio earlier. Wisconsin. I still had the other story in my head. Manitowoc County and Wisconsin for months after Elijah was reported missing. The community also held a candlelight vigil at Walshfield in Two Rivers on March the 16th, almost 1 month after he was reported missing. In August, the community held a birthday party at Kiwanis Park in Appleton in honor of Elijah's fourth birthday. Elijah was reported missing February 20th by Jesse Vang, 39, of Two Rivers, a boyfriend of Elijah's mother, who was at her Wisconsin Dells residence at the time. Vang told police last time he saw Elijah was at around 8 a.m. February 20th, after Vang had ordered him to stand next to the bed and pray as punishment. And I believe they said he had to stand there for hours. Vang said that he fell asleep, and when he woke up nearly 3 hours later, Elijah was gone. He called 911 to report him missing at 10:59 a.m. Bauer and Vang were both arrested in February, shortly after Elijah's disappearance. They were charged with child neglect. They remain in custody at Manitowoc County Jail. Bauer is held on a $15,000 cash bond, while Vang is being held on a $20,000 cash bond. The Wisconsin court system requires people to pay the full cash bail to be released from custody. Bauer has been charged with felony child neglect, misdemeanor child neglect involving another child, and 2 misdemeanor charges of resisting or obstructing an officer. Her next court date is a status conference. I don't know what that is. At 3 p.m. on October 22nd. Jesse Vang also faces neglect charges in relation to Elijah's disappearance. He is due in court for a status conference September 27th. So that would be the day that they're having the vigil, right? Did I say September 27th? Which would be next Friday. Let me go back right quick, make sure. Yeah, I believe it was the 27th. Yes. So the day that Jesse Vang goes for, I don't know what a conference or a status hearing is, but next Friday, Jesse Vang will go for the status hearing. Get back down to where I was now. Got to get past all these freaking ads. Okay, so September 27th, he goes for a status hearing. During the September 13th press conference, Minor said what started as a search for a missing child is now a death investigation. Although we understand your desire for information, we cannot share every detail and must maintain the integrity of the investigation. We know the family and community has a lot of questions. This is a process that will take a great deal of time, but we will do what we can in this investigation to answer those questions. So obviously, I know I'm right there with you. I want to know, what happened and get some, if they are the ones, once again, innocent until proven guilty. But we have to be patient and let the investigation take its course, and hopefully justice will come quickly, or correctly, in Elijah's case. Minor said anyone with information not previously shared or related to the investigation can contact law enforcement. Once again, get past the ads. Okay, I thought the article went, okay. So yeah, so that is the latest. I just wanted to share. Anybody can join in. Once again, let me get back up to the top. On Facebook for the virtual candlelight vigil. Says it's an event, and I don't know how you would find this on Facebook. I'm sure people will be sharing it absolutely when it's happening. It's through Facebook events by Jessica Erspalmer, Erspamer, and Pam Brotzman, Brotzman, 6 to 10 p.m. I don't know what time zone that's in. September 27th, next Friday. So let's just keep the rest of little Elijah's family in our thoughts and prayers. Obviously, him in our thoughts and prayers. Just glad that he is found and he can be laid to rest. And just sad case. Like I said, hopefully we got to let nature take its course, the investigation run its course, and hopefully they do have enough, if on whoever did it, to bring charges. Thank you. Vid says, I said, Ohio is in Eastern Standard Time. Wisconsin, I'm trying to think of which time zone Wisconsin is in. Oh, looky here, the National Treasure and the Mrs. National Treasure are here. Mr. Steve and Mrs. Steve says, hello, everyone. Mrs. Steve and I have arrived in Georgia, loading and moving furniture tomorrow, and then back to Florida. Bless your hearts. Safe travels, thoughts, prayers, good vibes to you. I know moving, thank goodness I haven't had to move a whole lot. I know moving can be a pain, but it's always glad or good and honor. We're always glad when Mr. Steve and Mrs. Steve can check in. Please do check out Mr. Steve and Mrs. Steve, True Crime Web Foundation, here on YouTube. Excellent work. If there's anybody around here by now who doesn't know who Mr. Steve and Mrs. Steve are, then I think you've had your head in the dirt. Good to have them here. Get caught up quickly. Yeah, Bling says, saying hi to Mr. and Mrs. Steve, says, good luck with moving. It is the worst. Yep. See, that's what I was wondering. Ray was going back to the 8-year-old in Ohio that drove 25 minutes, 10 miles to the Target. Says an angel was watching over the 8-year-old. Absolutely. Seems guardians were not. That's my question. Who was supposed to be looking after this child? Was she taught to drive? Yeah, pretty bizarre, stranger than fiction. Absolutely. You cannot make this stuff up. When stuff like this pops up in my Google News feed, I'll read it. I'm like, what? But yeah, angels were definitely watching over. I mean, can you imagine? I know at 8 years old, of course, when you're in the car with your parents and it's sitting still, or they used to let us sit in their laps and pretend like we were driving, down the country roads. But yeah, to just jump in a car by yourself at 8 years old and be able to make it 10 miles, 25 minutes at 8 years old, I probably would not have known how to get to the Walmart in the town next, the next town over, which is probably about this, what's a little, not as far, but it's probably, well, it may be, it's about 10 miles. I would not have even known to get there. How did the child, was it just dumb luck, accident that she happened to pull into the Target parking lot? It's just, Craziness. Excellent. Mr. Steve said, enjoying a couple of days off. Absolutely. Get some rest. Both of you. Enjoying a couple of days off, moving furniture before getting back to work with the foundation families next week. Absolutely. Doing the Lord's work. Boots on the ground. Fighting the good fight. Thank you, Mr. Steve. Always, like I said, it's always a pleasure to have Mr. Steve and Mrs. Steve here. Miss Miranda Lee is here. Speaking of a pleasure, it's always to have a pleasure to have Miranda here. Hello, Miranda. Thoughts, prayers, and good vibes are still with you, my dear. Hope you're doing well. Oh, Dave, apparently Dave is the only one here who does not know who Mr. Steve is. Yeah, I know better than that. Oh, goodness. All right. I think I'm caught up. Okay, I thought some comments popped up. All right. Okay, so this to me is in the, I said, before I even started my channel or got on YouTube, other than to watch music videos or puppy and kitty videos, I did get on it occasionally, even before I started my channel, to look up, look in true crime, any cases or anything. Yes, Miranda says, Dave, you are awesome. Yes, Dave is awesome. Absolutely. Dave is awesome. We love Dave. But this Asha Degree case, let me get the article loading. This case is this year over 24 years old for this case. Asha disappeared in 2000. And I've watched several the crime TV shows that are on cable or satellite or whatever. It's okay, Dave. Dave is still listening and driving. You're fine, Dave. Yes, Dave said there's always one in the crowd. Yes, Dave, you are our one. You are the one in this crowd. No, one of the ones. All right. But I have watched several, read tons and tons of articles, information, watched, like I said, I don't know how many TV shows, documentaries, whatever you want to call them, on Asha's case. And now we have this coming out that they have linked. I believe it was this, let me get over to the article, this past week or last few days. They have linked through genetic genealogy once again. I know you guys get tired of me talking about genetic genealogy, but they have linked, they got DNA. They had DNA, I believe, last year. I'll read the article. It has all the information. But they'd found the DNA from two people, apparently, and they have matched it, or through genetic genealogy, they have found two people that it is linked to. And then they're making the connection of how the two people that it was linked to, how they were connected. But my first and biggest question that I have about Asha's case, I believe she was 9 years old when she went missing, is why in the first place, once again, I'm not blaming or suggesting anything because I don't know. But my biggest question about this case has always been, first and foremost, why at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning on a night that was stormy, rainy, pouring down rain, at 9 years old, would you get up, leave your house willingly, if that's what happened? Because there are some people that don't believe she ever left the house. Now, I'm not suggesting that at all, but why would a 9-year-old get out 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, took a book bag, which the only thing before that I had ever read that they had found of her was, I think, and once again, it's in the article, a few years after she disappeared, they did find her book bag with a New Kids on the Block shirt, which they said was not hers, and a library book, one of the Dr. Seuss books, that was not checked out by her, in her book bag, sealed in 2 plastic garbage bags. Why would a 9-year-old get out, once again, in the middle of the night, pouring down rain, storming, and go out walking and leave the house? That has always been my first question in this case. But now they have the DNA, like I said, and I'm going to read the article. I'm going to get over here real quick one more time in your comments before I start reading. Yes, it is. Bling asks, is this the girl who walked away in the middle of the night and seen walking down the highway? Yes. Yes, and that's another thing. Supposedly, she was seen walking down the highway by at least 2 people. I think one was a truck driver, or maybe both of them were truck drivers. I know the one truck driver that saw her, I think he ended up turning around and coming back to check on her. And by the time he got back, either he saw her running into the woods or she had already disappeared into the woods. So yeah, it's just, that's, like I said, that's my question, is why did she leave in the first place? I mean, because at 9 years old, you would think if she was older, or this is just all my opinion, my little squirrels in my head going, if she would have been older, 14, 15, 16, you may think, okay, she had a little boyfriend or, somebody, but 9 years old, to me, is a little young, especially, like I said, this has been 20 years ago. I know kids these days are growing up faster than we used to. But at 9 years old, I don't think somebody of her age, like I said, once again, if she was 14, 15, maybe somebody her age could have, she went out to meet her boyfriend or whatever, and then something happened. But at 9 years old, to me, that would not be at the top of my list. So either she was lured out by somebody else, an older adult, or somebody older than her, teenager, adult. But they said there was no sign of forced entry. I believe her brother, who was a little bit older than her, they slept in the same room. He said he heard her bed squeak around that time, because I think that's where they got the time frame from of when she disappeared out of the house. Heard the bed squeak. Now, I don't know if he heard a door open and shut, but I do remember reading that he heard the bed squeak. She got up. He didn't think anything about it. There was no sign of forced entry or any kind of, break in. And when her dad got up, maybe a few hours after that, couple of hours after that, she was gone. And just after that, like I said, a few years later, they found the book bag with the stuff in it. And until these last developments, there has not been any movement in this case. But yeah, I don't understand. That's the first question, trying to wrap my head around why would she leave in the first place. Ryu says Timothy, I'm trying to pronounce this name right, Holsmith, does shed some light on Haleigh's case. Yes, I know there's lots, in my opinion, lots of red flags in Haleigh's case. Bling says I'm assuming you're talking about Asha's case. Yep. Yep. Miss Barba says red flags. Absolutely. It's just, this is one of those cases that caught a hold of me too. And just like I said, it's probably one of the, I have to go back and check scroll way back in my videos, because it's before I even started doing live streams, and check to see about if I did a case on, I don't think I did one on Asha, but I'm trying to think if I did one on Haleigh. Like I said, if I did, it was one of my very first ones. So if you ever go back to my early videos, I'll tell you right now, they're horrible. But I get the information out, so, Miranda wants to know, are you talking about Asha's father? Miranda says, did he not call 911? Yes, they did call 911 or the police. She was reported missing. I believe it was that when her father got up sometime later that morning. I know the article will have it that I'm going to read, but I believe it was later on that morning. They did call the police, and they came out and she was reported missing. Yes, I believe it was around, it may have been on or around very close to Valentine's Day. Yes. Like I said, the article I'm going to read, it has all the information. It's a good question. Lance says, did this child die from exposure? That is the question. I mean, because that's what I always thought is either, like I said, for one, why did she leave in the first place? After she was seen by these at least two people, um, did she run away in the woods somewhere and fall down and get hurt and die of, like Lance said, exposure, or an accident, and they just, but then again, I think if that was the case, they could have, because I'm sure the truck driver took them, told them where he had seen her go into the woods. They would have. And once again, on the third hand, it's very hard to find a missing person, a body remains in a wooded area. You can walk, 2 feet from them and not see it, especially if it's grown up. The weeds and grass are thick. But just lost my train of thought. But you would have looked like her body would, or something of her would have been found, some remains, if she would have, after the truck driver saw her running into the woods, and if something had happened to her there, because I don't think she was very far from her house. I'm trying to think, maybe a mile, I think, is when these, at least one or both of these sightings were within a mile or two of her house, which, I mean, it's a lot of ways, but it's not an unreasonable distance, I don't think, for a child to walk, but still anyway, I promise I'll get to the article, because it can deliver the art with all the information. Yeah. See, yeah, Miss Barnes' boyfriend at 9, really? Yeah, I don't think at 9, I don't think so. That's what makes me think, because usually when we have a teenager, preteen, 13, 14, 15 go missing, it's usually, if it's not a stranger or somebody these days that they met online, unfortunately, as with the Leandra, that I shared with you earlier before we started, missing from Waco, was it says they think she met somebody, an older man, online, and that's who she's with. But yeah, at 9 years old, and then this was 20 years ago. Internet wasn't, online stuff wasn't. Yeah, I don't think it. To me, that basically almost, like I said, I'm not a professional by any means, but that would basically rule out, her age would rule out any kind of boyfriend. So it had to be she went out willingly for whatever reason, and something happened to her after that. Like I said, we'll get into what possibly could have happened to her. Yes, see, Mr. Steve said there are several reasons for flight or to flee a home, and none of them good. See, that's what I've always had in the back of my mind too. Mr. Steve read my mind, or all of our minds. But they said they've investigated or questioned the family, and I, I'm sure. I say I'm sure, but reasonably sure that you know family is always going to be there on the persons of interest list at the very least, until and unless they find out otherwise or confirm it was. But yeah, just something had to make her leave that house, either internal or from outside. But I cannot think of anything. And you guys, I know there's some people here smarter than me. What would make a 9-year-old child, something external, not something that was going on internally in the house? What would make a 9-year-old, something external that would make a 9-year-old leave the house in the middle of the night, pouring down rain, storming, in February? Just makes no sense to me. Mm, are you talking about this case, or I may be behind? It says, how far away from home was he found? So I'm just getting caught up in comments. Oh, bless you, Ro. Oh, Yes, she is still, yeah, her Aisha's remains have not been found. Like I said, I promise I'm gonna get to the article. I'm just trying to get caught up in y'all's comments. Her remains have never been found, but they found, like I said, a few years after she went missing, they found her book bag with a shirt, and I guess possibly, or some of her actual clothes in it, because in the article it says that a hair stem, which I think is pulled out from the, I don't know if it's from the root. No, that's called a root ball. A hair stem, whatever that is, piece of hair was found on her undershirt. So I'm assuming that there was other clothes in there besides the New Kids on the Block shirt, or at least that was released publicly, as far as I can remember. And if any of you guys have heard anything different, please do let me know. But all I can ever remember them releasing that was found in her book bag publicly was the New Kids on the Block t-shirt that was not hers, and the Dr. Seuss book that was not checked out by her, but apparently it was checked out from the school that she did go to. To me, in my opinion, the book can kind of be explained as not being hers, because I remember I love to read. I've loved to read since I learned how to read. So at 8 or 9 years old, absolutely, if one child has a Dr. Seuss book, or somebody has any kind of book, and you have a friend that says, "Hey, can I borrow that and read it before you turn it back into the library?" Oh, sure. Exchanging books, or give. To me, that can be explained, in my opinion, about the book she had in the bag not being hers, or not being checked out by her. But now the New Kids on the Block t-shirt, which when you find out some of the ones that the DNA has linked, to me, in my opinion, has kind of explained the New Kids on the Block t-shirt just from the ages. But yeah, but they never released publicly that I ever found anything else that was in the book bag. But apparently there was something of her clothes, her undershirt at the very least, because that is what one of the hairs that was found, or the one hair that was found, that did not belong to her, how that's what they used to match to one of the people. Right, I promise I'm gonna quit babbling, and I keep saying that, and get a thank you, Miss Barbara. That's very sweet. See, that's another thing too. Dave says, I think Aisha may have been struck by the late model car that she was seen getting into. That's also a possibility too, or one of the possibilities. Because they did say, or some witnesses said, and this was years, maybe, I can't remember the year. Once again, they'll tell in the article, years and years after she disappeared, a witness did come forward, supposedly, and said that they saw her being pulled, either getting into or being pulled into they gave a description, a late model green car. And that's one of the things they also did take from one of the people's property of the DNA match. They took a older green car. So if they find any DNA or anything to put Aisha in that green car, then the owners, the people that are named publicly now, have got some explaining to do. If not, I don't know if just what they have, and Mr. Steve can speak on this better than I can if he's still here. If it's just that they found these hairs, and I know it is, I say just these hairs, or the hair and then the DNA, whatever kind of DNA that linked this other person, if that's the only thing they have, is that enough to charge anybody? If they find, now, obviously, most definitely, if they find her remains on these, I believe their last name is Dedmon, Dedmon. They have several properties. Apparently, they owned a lot of nursing homes and caregiving homes. Now, if they find her body at some point, her remains, on any of the property that they owned or did own at that time, then definitely, or if they find any kind of DNA or anything that proves that Aisha was in that car or any vehicle, because I think they said there was maybe 20-something vehicles that they could, I guess they went back and checked records, DMV records, then definitely they've Yes, yes. Levine said, Lucy, you have some explaining to do. Yes, they will have somebody will have some explaining to do. Like I said, if they find any proof, DNA, whatever, of Asha being in that car, or find her or any of her remains on that any of that property that they own. Yes, Dave is correct. I know Dave said he was probably going to do something on this case too. If you're going to have your live stream Sunday morning, Dave. Yes, Dave says, I think the guy who they suspect of doing this is deceased. Yes. His DNA he was one of the contributors of one of the DNAs that they found. He is deceased. The Roy Underhill, I believe is his name. You are correct, as usual, Dave. All right, I'm going to quit babbling and get the article read. They can give the information better than I. I'll turn my cam off right quick while I'm reading. Oh, sorry, I almost dropped my drink. This article is from the 16th, and is from Cleveland County, North Carolina. A new search warrants in connection with the disappearance of 9-year-old Asha Degree were made public on Monday, and investigators said for the first time that they believe that her life was taken and her body was concealed somewhere. That is the question, is where is it at? And who for sure did it? Asha has been missing since February 14th of 2000, after her parents said they woke up and found her gone from their home in Shelby. Investigators with the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office, the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, and the FBI were spotted at several properties in Cleveland County last Tuesday, and authorities confirmed to Channel 9, that's the article I'm reading from their website, that those searches were in connection to Asha's disappearance. Again, I got to scroll through all the ads. Once again, we have to reiterate, no criminal charges as of the date of this live stream. No criminal charges have been filed, and nobody has been arrested in connection with Asha's disappearance. Channel 9's Ken Lemon obtained the affidavits that were filed in connection to the search warrant. Let me get down. And it says, their other headline says, warrants reveal potential cover-up, meaning not police cover-up, but whoever, if it was these people that their DNA has been found, or somebody else, that her body, that she was a victim of a homicide, and then her body was hidden. 17 months after Asha was reported missing, investigators found 2 sealed black plastic garbage bags along Highway 18 near Morgantown. Inside those bags, those plastic bags, were Asha's book bag and clothing. And this is according to investigators in the affidavit. According to the search warrant affidavit, 2 items gave investigators what they call evidentiary results, with DNA samples that were narrowed down to 2 people. The warrant affidavit says 1 sample belonged to a man who passed away in 2004. His name is Russell Underhill. Excuse me, I said Roy earlier. His name was Russell Underhill. So that is the one that Dave was referring to. The affidavit says a hair stem, which I'm thinking that's if it's just a hair stem. Please, anybody, Mr. Steve, if you're still here, he may be gone by now. I think the hair stem is that doesn't have the root ball on it, which basically the only way you're going to get a root ball is if hair is jerked out of your head by the roots, basically, obviously. And I think you can get better DNA or more DNA from the actual root, what they call the root ball of a hair, than you can the hair stem. But once again, you can, I guess, get the DNA from the stem. So the affidavit says a hair stem was found on Asha's undershirt that matched DNA to one of Roy Deadman's daughters from a genealogy database. So the Deadmans had 3 daughters who were all teenagers at the time of Asha's disappearance. The DNA sample matched one daughter who was 13 at the time. And I think I'll probably say further down in the article, I think the other two sisters were 15, 16, or 16 and 17. So that's why I said earlier that would, if they had anything to do with Aisha's disappearance, that would explain the New Kids on the Block t-shirt, because 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds at that time would have been the age range. And I'm sure, maybe 9 years old too, but definitely 13 to 17 would be the age range back then for New Kids on the Block fans. Investigators said that based on the evidence and the fact that no communications have been made from Aisha since her disappearance, that they believe that Aisha, quote, is a victim of homicide with her body concealed. The warrant describes Roy and Connie Dedman as suspects, and they have that in quotations, and says that investigators believe their help, quote, would have been necessary in the execution and or concealment of the crime. So that would lead me, by the way that they said that maybe they believe somebody younger, like teenagers, something, it could have been an accident, like was it Dave that mentioned earlier? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Somebody mentioned earlier, Dave, I think it was Dave, that she could have been hit by a car. That is a possibility. It could have been an accident. Aisha was walking down the highway, because this highway that she was walking down and where the book bag was found goes in between, and once again, I think they mentioned it in the article, goes in between where Aisha lived, where the Dedman's property was, and to one of the nursing homes that they owned. They said that this highway, whatever highway it was, 18 or whatever it is, 8, would have been on that route. So it is possible that maybe somebody was driving and hit Aisha accidentally, walking down the road or the side of the road, and got a hold of the parents and said, this is what happened, what do we do? I think that is highly possible. Or it could have been, something more nefarious. So they say that Roy and Connie Dedman, who are the parents, they are suspects, that their help would have been necessary in the execution and or concealment of the crime. The warrant references the ages of the Dedman's daughters at the time of Asha's disappearance. An attorney for Roy Dedman told reporters on Friday that his client didn't have anything to do with Aisha's disappearance, but he alluded to the search warrant possibly revealing a quote circumstances of Aisha's disappearance. So basically, they have it worded a little bit differently here, but I've read several articles about this. Basically, the Dedman family's attorney is saying that it was this Russell Underhill, because they made reference in another article that he said that this information would link to somebody who is already deceased. So I'm assuming he was talking about Russell Underhill. Investigators had the information about the DNA evidence, but a new turn in the case came in May of 2023. According to a search warrant affidavit, investigators interviewed an employee at Cleveland County Social Services who confirmed that Russell Underhill was under the care of Roy Dedman in February of 2000 at Cleveland Healthcare. Investigators confirmed Underhill's residency in Cleveland Healthcare through several documents, including a surgical record that listed Roy Dedman as Underhill's emergency contact. After Cleveland Healthcare closed in 2002, Roy Lee Dedman and Connie Dedman opened an assisted living center in Vail, which is called Northbrook Rest Home, where Underhill also lived until his death in 2004. So I had to read, when I first started reading about this, I had to read it, several different articles to get the connection about he was under care of the Dedman family or in their multiple different assisted living facilities that they owned at the time. The social services employee told investigators that, quote, they were told that Roy Lee Dedmon would send his, and this is going back to what Dave said about the accidentally got hit. So this social services employee told investigators, quote, they were told that Roy Lee Dedmon would send his 16 to 17-year-old daughter to transport patients in an unreliable vehicle to and from Broughton Hospital in Morgantown. So supposedly, if this whoever this witness or whoever is said that they worked for him or had this knowledge that Roy Dedmon would, back in when Asha disappeared, would send one or more of his teenage daughters in an unreliable vehicle to and from Broughton Hospital back to one of their assisted care facilities with patients on this same highway, this same route where they found Asha's bag, or the bag with Asha's belongings in it. So just something to think about. Last week, authorities towed a 1960s era sedan that resembled the description of a vehicle in Asha's disappearance. Investigators said in their affidavit, quote, Roy Dedmon and Connie Dedmon are the two common links between the DNA profile of Russell Underhill, who is the deceased man who was in their care at their facilities, and the Dedmon's daughter. So his DNA was the one DNA that was found, and I believe the hair stem that they said was found on Asha's undershirt was of one of the Dedmon's daughters, who was 13 at the time. And the Dedmon's daughter collected and identified from Asha's undershirt and the trash bag, which contained Asha's book bag. So that is the Dedmon's are the common denominator with Roy Underhill. So investigators said they believe it is likely that they'll find, quote, personal effects belonging to Asha, along with other forensic and or trace evidence related to this investigation at the Northbrooks Rest Home. So that is one of the facilities that the Dedmons owned. Roy Underhill was a patient in their care. So police believe, or hoping that they will find more evidence, trace evidence, forensic evidence that will link Asha to this place, to the Dedmons, to Russell Underhill. So the affidavit also hints at what investigators may have been looking for at the Dedmon property on Cherryville Road. The affidavit says that one of the Dedmon's daughters was interviewed and said that she drove an AMC Rambler when she was 16. Investigators say this is similar to the one that Asha was seen, quote, was seen being pulled into, and that a Rambler was parked at the Dedmon's property. That was the car that was towed away last week. That is the green car. Like I said, the witness from, and I believe this witness that said they saw her being pulled into, either getting into or being pulled into, that information didn't come out until maybe, it was several years after Asha disappeared. So once again, we'll have to take that with a grain of salt. But why didn't they come forward before then? If they had seen, it looked like because I don't know how big the town was that she disappeared from, but you would assume that, hey, we got this little 9-year-old girl that went missing. And if you saw a little 9-year-old girl that matched her description being either getting into or being pulled into a car, that would be something that I wouldn't forget. So why wait years and years and years before you come forward with that information? But that's just my opinion. Let's see. Let me find my place. If you're looking for any robust DNA that might be inside that vehicle, it's probably going to be pretty challenging, because obviously inside a vehicle, it gets hot. And this is according to Britannia Bentz, who's a forensic research scientist at Western Carolina University. The affidavit says someone told investigators that they saw Roy Dedman digging a chest-deep hole at the 601 Cherryville Road property several years ago. Another red flag, unless he was burying an animal, a pet or something. The affidavit also says that a current resident at the home told investigators that 3 rooms have been padlocked since he moved in, and Dedman told him it contained his personal property. Investigators took cameras, journals, a black trash bag, children's clothing, and a rifle from that home. If there is something that we're able to collect from inside the home, there's a good deal of temperature and humidity control, so then it's entirely possible for them to be able to develop what they call a robust genetic profile from that material. And no human remains were found in last week's searches, and this is according to authorities. So that is the latest, or the first information really in a long, long time that has come out in Asha's case. So very, very interesting. So what do you guys think of, get back in your comments. Think about these, this DNA, see, Mr. Steve has commented maybe on the genetic stuff, the DNA stuff. Let me get back down to where I was. Paula's here. Welcome back, Paula. Oh, is Miss Barbara and Beling fighting, or are they going to fight somebody? They're talking about fighting. Miranda says maybe mitochondrial DNA from just the stem. Yeah, like I said, Mr. Steve will be the one obviously to ask here now. I don't know if he's still here. I think I saw him commenting, but from little, I mean, I'm no expert, obviously, but an armchair DNA enthusiast or whatever you would say. I've read, I mean, I think I do remember reading that it is, you either get better or more DNA if you have a hair, if the root ball is attached to it, or maybe a different kind of DNA, maybe the mitochondrial DNA. I don't know. I don't know if that's from the stem or from the root ball. Let's say it's just, I'm trying to remember stuff I've read. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think about, like I said, unless I mean, once again, I'm no expert on what all the evidence has to be to, charge somebody, is finding, matching a hair stem found on her clothes, and then however they found, wherever they found Russell Underhill's DNA. I don't know if it was just from the bag or from the clothing. It didn't say in any of the articles that I found. Is that enough to be able to charge somebody, or do you think they're going to have to, like I said earlier, find DNA or evidence that says for sure that Asha was in that car at some point? And if she didn't have a valid, legitimate reason, which everything I've read, they have found no connection between the Dedmans or Russell Underhill and Asha or her family. There's no connections that have been made as for them knowing each other well, or, I don't know if the girls would have went to school together, because Asha was only 9. I think the youngest Dedman girl, daughter, was 13 at the time. I think the other 2 were older, so I don't know if they would have been in the same, I don't know if they have elementary, middle school, high school. I don't know how it's divided. In a small town like mine, we just had elementary and high school. The elementary was grades, because back then, I don't even think they had the kindergarten, because I went to a private day or kindergarten. But anyway, grade school was 1st grade through 6th grade, and then you went across the street to the high school, which was 7th grade to 12th grade. But I know in bigger cities and towns, sometimes it's divided into like elementary, middle school, and high school. So I don't know if Asha would have been in the same buildings, or, I mean, that That's the only thing that I could think of how DNA would get on her clothes from the Deadman sister is if they were, I don't know, in the same school and transfer DNA or whatever. What is it, Mr. The Locard's, whatever, Locard's exchange principle? Is that what it's called? I try to remember the name of it. So, and how Russell Underhill's DNA would be, and I don't know exactly, like I said, where they found his DNA, but for sure the DNA that was found on her shirt was from the Deadman daughter. So, I mean, is that enough to, like I said, and obviously, like, once again, like I said earlier, if they find Aisha's body on one of the properties that they lived at, or from the assisted living facilities that they owned at the time, if her body is found there, that's different, I would think, as far as evidence to, you know, but once again, I'm just an armchair sleuth here. Oh, somebody got to be bailed out of jail. Oh, somebody needs bail money. Bling and Miss Barbara may need bail money. We'll take some bail money. We'll collect some bail money for you gals. I don't know what kind of trouble you're getting into. Yeah, look, sis, it depends on what you two do. Bling and Barbara, I might have you covered. Dave, yeah, I said I know Dave has been looking into this or has known about this case. Dave says the original detective who worked on Aisha's case is an amazing human being. Yes, I've read, I don't know if it was in this article, but like I said, I read every article I could find when this information came out, just to get any different pieces of information or something that wasn't mentioned in any other article. But I do remember, them saying that the original detective, like Dave is saying, was just never gave up. We had pizza for lunch and it's not agreeing with me. I apologize. Yeah, the original detective just never gave up and just. Miss Paula says, I love the New Kids on the Block. I do too. I was an older fan of one of the older fans who liked New Kids on the Block, because I think I was probably in my late teens, early 20s. Well, no, they came out in the 80s. I was, I was older than the average New Kids on the Block fan. Let's just put it that way. But Miss Paula says she loves New Kids on the Block. I do too. Is it possible that her mother owned the shirt? I did not think about that. That is a good point. See, because all that they've said or released publicly, but you would think that the mother would have said something, because, like I said, I had ever found they released publicly when they found the book bag, they had the New Kids on the Block shirt, and all they ever said was that did not belong to Aisha. Now, they didn't say but you would have think that if it belonged to her mother, but that is an excellent point that I did not think about. You would have thought that her mother would have said something if it belonged to her. So excellent observation. Yeah. I said, I don't know. Oh, here's Mr. Steve with some words that I probably will not understand. Mr. Steve says stem loop. I'm going to try to pronounce that right even. Stem loop, intramolecular, and complicated. So that sums it up. Stem loop, intramolecular, and complicated. Thank you, Mr. Steve. See, I knew, Mr. Steve, among other things, is the CSI guy. And a former law enforcement, Mr. Steve has done everything. Everything. Let me see. Get caught up. Yes, Dave. Yep. Dave says it was a rainy, miserable night. Absolutely. Like I said, that is, even putting aside this new DNA evidence that's allegedly, as of right now, allegedly links the Deadman family and Russell. I keep wanting to call him Roy. Russell Underhill to Aisha. Why did she leave the house in the first place? Like Davis said, and maybe Bling or somebody said it was in February, I believe, right around Valentine's Day. you know, so it's cold, rainy, stormy, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I think. Why did she leave in the first place? There had to be a reason. Yes, February, she went missing on February 14th, 2000. Like I said, if she was older, 3 or 4 years older, I would say, yeah, maybe she was sneaking out to see a boy, but not at, I just can't see a 9-year-old back. I mean, well, at any time I was going to say back then, but maybe I'm, naive, but I just cannot see. And like I said, I know kids grow up a lot faster these days than I did when I was a kid. A 9-year-old, can't see her sneaking out to see a boy. It had to be something else, to make her just take, maybe some of her clothes, I don't know, because they said they found her clothes, or the hair stem was found on her undershirt, and that the New Kids on the Block shirt didn't belong to her, and the library book. So we don't know exactly what she had in her book bag when she left. Maybe the library book and some of her clothes. I don't know. I mean, why would she leave? That has always been the thing that's drove me crazy about this case. One of the things, the main thing. Thank you. Miss Paula says she is officially over here now. Miss Paula, you're gonna have to send me, if you can, on Facebook Messenger or something, the link to that Movies and Beyond that you were. I know you said you were going to go over there. They were having a live stream for Paranormal Night or something. I looked up Movies and Beyond, just that name, on YouTube for the channel, and nothing popped up with that exact name. So if you could send me the link somehow to that channel, I would love to check it out. Oh, probably. I hope I didn't miss him. I probably did. Lance said he had to go. Good night, Lance. Thank you for being here. It's probably already. I'm behind. I think I'm about 14 minutes behind in comments. But thank you. It's always good to have Lance here from Canada. Oh, new batch of comments popped up. Hold on now. I gotta get back down to where I was. Stop my camera for a minute. Get me a drink. All right. Okay. Get back to where I was. Bling said, "Okay, that's creepy. I don't know what you're talking about." We're seeing a whole new batch of comments popped up. This whole case, if you're talking, I don't know if you're talking about this case or you might have been talking to somebody else entirely. This whole thing is just, like I said, I don't know. It's just, yes, Miranda says, if it was an accidental death, why was her clothing found in the bag? That is the question. Because I believe it was, like I said, until this new information came out about the DNA, I had never read or heard anywhere that they actually found Aisha's clothes in her book bag. Just that they found this New Kids on the Block shirt that they said was not hers. The Dr. Seuss book that was not checked out by her, but I'm assuming it was from her school, checked out from her school library, or maybe the town library. I don't know. But if they found her other articles of her clothing in there, did she pack them if she was running away or whatever she was doing, for whatever reason she left the house? Or were those clothes that she was wearing when she left the house? And if there isn't, the offender put them in there, because they found the book bag, the book and the clothes were inside the book bag, and the book bag was tied up or sealed up in 2 plastic garbage bags, if I'm remembering correctly. And the book bag, and it didn't say in that article, but I'm wanting to say where they found the book bag was at a construction site, and I don't know if the construction people, I'm going to go on the assumption, because it's been so long since I read about that part of it. I know it was found at a construction site that was currently at that time going on. So I'm going to assume that the construction people maybe found the bag if they were digging somewhere doing construction, and that it was maybe 30 to 40 miles or maybe more from Asha's house or where she was last seen at, which was, I think, maybe a mile or so from her house. So somebody went to a lot of trouble, or, you know, to wrap it in 2 plastic garbage bags and take it 30 to 40 miles away and bury it at a construction site. Or, you know, to me, why don't you just, I mean, burn it? If they thought that evidence was in, let's just go on the assumption, let's just theorize for a minute. Go on the assumption that the New Kids on the Block t-shirt belonged to one of the offenders. Maybe they thought, I mean, because this was back in 2000, so yeah, DNA technology was more advanced. If they never said if there was blood on the shirt, on the New Kids on the Block shirt, but if it belonged to the offender and they were trying to get rid of it, to get rid of evidence, why not just burn everything? In my opinion, burning, as far as clothing and, you know, flammable materials go, burning is the only for sure way that you're going to get rid of evidence, get rid of DNA. I mean, to me, it would just be easier. I know I've watched too many crime shows and movies, but, you know, burning stuff would just be easier. If they had all that property, 2 or 3 properties, I mean, just burn it. Why take it, you know, unless, I don't know. If anybody can come up with a good reason to not just burn it, or, you know, dispose of it closer than taking it 30 or 40 miles away, wrapping it in 2 plastic garbage bags and burying it at a construction site, you know, I'm probably overlooking or not thinking about something really obvious, but to me, burning or disposing of it closer, I mean, maybe it was, they thought if it was 30 to 40 miles away from wherever, that they couldn't link it to that particular area, but still, burning would be my option if I ever decided to commit a crime. Yes, Bling says it sounds more like what was in her backpack may have been the property of the you said hoarder, but of the offender or potential offender. Yeah, I have to agree with you. All right, absolutely. Mr. Steve was once again, I'm a little bit behind, about 10 minutes behind in comments. Mr. Steve says a DNA discovery at a minimum could be used for PCA for search warrants and property seizures. Yes, that is how they did do this to get, after they identified these people through the DNA, they did get the search warrants and they did search the properties. They did seize property. But would just that be enough to charge somebody with homicide? Or would you have to, like I said earlier, would you have to find some kind of DNA or for sure evidence that Asha was either in that car that they towed, the green car, or most definitely, if they did find her remains on some of their property, yeah. But just on what they have now, would that be enough to charge somebody with homicide? I think that's what I was getting at. I don't know. I'm babbling. I'm confused here. Oh, Miss Barbara says she's a ninja. Miranda says she likes New Kids on the Block too. Yep. Like I said, I think I was on the older echelon of New Kids on the Block back in the day, but I you know, I like them. I liked them. I still do. Miss Barbara says that she knows all about New Kids on the Block, but she had a Saturday Night Live shirt. Oh, I love Saturday. Back in the day, you couldn't beat Saturday Night Live. Now, I haven't watched it lately, but I used to watch back when I was a teenager, young adult, and growing up, probably younger than we should have been. We were watching Saturday Night Live. Oh, I got you. Okay, so Bling, if I can get it to come up. There it goes. Bling says, I'm really thinking that if this man whose DNA was found, oh, you're talking about, okay, Russell Underhill is the one who's deceased. He was the other person that DNA was found. Is a hoarder. I'd be willing to bet he kept her backpack after she passed and used it to find more treasures. I absolutely, agree with you and see the point you're making, but if I remember correctly, once again, at the time that Asha disappeared, see, I'm trying to make sure I got my facts straight. Please correct me if anybody knows more about this. If I remember correctly, at the time that Asha disappeared, Russell Underhill was already in an assisted living, one of the Deadman's assisted living facilities. So if he was already in an assisted living facility, then I don't, because I'm pretty sure I read, like I said, anybody please, if anybody can snag another article, or I read somewhere that he was already in the assisted living facility at the time that Asha disappeared. So that would, if that is true, if I'm remembering correctly, if I have my facts straight, which is entirely possible that I don't, if he was already in the assisted living facility at the time that she disappeared, then in my thought process, he would not be capable. I mean, you can, because my mom works in a nursing home. I worked caregiving for 10 years, home caregiving. But if you're in an assisted living facility, I just can't see him being the one. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to get at. But I don't know. Like I said, we're gonna have to wait and find out. But I'm kind of along Dave. Dave said that possibly it was maybe the possible offenders, or some of the ones they found the DNA from, the family, maybe the teenage girls, one or more of the teenage girls, especially whichever one it was that said, this witness said that the father Roy would send one of the teenage girls on a regular basis in an unreliable car back and forth to the hospital and their assisted care facility to transport patient transport. Entirely possible that it was an accident and they just panicked and didn't know what to do and called mom and dad and said, hey, come help us. And then this is, but like I said, this is just all theory and just thoughts from me. I mean, I could be way off base, but I'm kind of in line with Dave's thinking about the accident, or unless we find out, like I said, I could be entirely wrong about Russell Underhill already being in the assisted living facility. But see, I think that's how they connected his DNA. That was a common denominator between the evidence they found in Asha's bag was the Deadmans. And they finally, I think at first, when they first found the DNA, they didn't know how Russell Underhill and the Deadman family was connected, why their DNA would be together in one place. But then they started doing their investigating and research and found out that he was a patient at one of their assisted living facilities, and that's how they made the connection, if I remember correctly. So it's just, like I said, I want to know right now, just as bad as everybody else, but we're going to have to, I'm going to have to be patient. Yeah, see, that's the other thing that I noticed too. Bling says, and padlocks on doors so people couldn't touch his stuff. Definitely makes me think he's a hoarder. See, but that was in the Deadman's house. It said the person who currently lived in the house that they searched, which I guess up until I don't know how long ago had been owned by the Deadmans. I guess when this fella, I think it was a man, moved in, he said there were 2 or 3 rooms, I said, that were padlocked. And the Deadman, I'm assuming Roy, said, that's my stuff, my personal belongings. So basically said, don't go into these, even though I don't know if he was renting or what the case was. But just going on the little information they had in that article, I would just have a scenario that this guy's renting or buying, or and Roy Dedman said, hey, don't open these padlock doors because my personal stuff is in there. And maybe he said, I'll get it later, get it out of your way or something. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. Yep, I'm with you, Miss Barbara. Miss Barbara says, I cannot see a 9-year-old little girl going out at night looking for a boyfriend. Absolutely. I'm with you. That's why I said I in my armchair sleuth mind, I ruled that out almost immediately that she was going out to meet a boy. Like I said, if she was older, 13, 14, 15, but not 9 years old, to me, that just didn't jive. Dave says, back on that note, I think she was having a tough childhood at home. I'm telling you, there was something in that household that would make her up and leave. Because even in 2000, you do have the internet, but it was basically new. So you're not kids. I mean, it's normal these days in 2024 for 9-year-olds to be on the internet, to be in contact with people online, because unfortunately we see it all the time. They're getting younger and younger, especially these little girls, 8, 9, 10 years old, meeting somebody, a predator online, and then luring them out of the house. But back in 2000, I just can't see that, because you didn't have, I don't think you had the smartphones, because I think what they actually call the smartphones, like we know today, didn't come out to maybe 2009, 2010. Internet is not what it is today. I mean, so I can't see her meeting somebody online and going out to meet a predator. So something had to within that household, in my opinion, had to make her leave that house for some reason. Like I said, that they've never, in everything I've ever read, they said that, they talked to the family. Now that police may just be holding back information and just saying, hey, the family, we talked to the family. We don't think the family has anything to do with it. She left for whatever reason. Now they could just be saying that just because they don't want to spook the family, into saying, hey, we're gonna be looking. They didn't want to come out and say, hey, we think you had something to do with it. They want to keep it close to the chest, and maybe I don't know. That's the only reason I could think that they would say publicly that they talked to the family. They don't think they had anything to do with it, and so on and so forth. It could be that they are secretly, they just didn't want to let it out and spook the family into leaving or doing anything. Thank you. Miss Paula says movies and beyond. Okay. So that's the way it is I'll type it in like that when I look at it. Thank you, Miss Paula. I'm definitely going to check it out. Yep. Bling agrees with Dave. It says it has to be something like that. Dave was talking about a tough childhood at home earlier. So because I just can't see any other reason to leave the way that she did. Yeah, oh, I almost missed Vid. She's probably already gone. Says I've got to go for the night. Hugs, Southern Gal and everybody. Thank you, Vid. Thank you for being here. Yeah, Miss Paula says the New Kids on the Block shirt could help determine the age of the person who owns it. Yeah, that's what I was saying. To me, I never could figure out. I mean, a 9-year-old, I guess, could have been a fan of New Kids on the Block back in the day. But after they gave the ages of the Deadman sisters, I think it was like 13, 16, and 17 or 18. There was 3 daughters, or are 3 daughters. They said the DNA of the 13-year-old was the one that was found on Asha's clothes. So, to me, 13, 16, 17-year-old would be the age of a New Kids on the Block fan at that time. Oh, okay, I got you. Going back to Blinga said it was creepy, or something was creepy. She says, when I said that is creepy, it was when you mentioned that he had padlocks on doors in the house. Absolutely. See, that's another thing. But if that was the house, they actually searched, I think, 2 houses that had either still belonged to or formerly had belonged to the Deadmans. I'm hoping that that house, that the witness or the guy who was written it or whoever was written it said that the doors were three rooms, I think, had padlocks on them, and basically I'm going to assume Roy Deadman said, that's my personal stuff is in there, don't go in there. I'm hoping that's one of the houses that they searched and that maybe they found something in those rooms that were locked. I'm hoping. But then they also said that they were hoping or felt strongly that they would find some other evidence of Asha on the where the Northbrook nursing home was, the nursing home they owned on that property. So yes, Miss Paula says it would also determine the gender of the person. Absolutely. Like I said, there was 3 teenage Deadman daughters at that time. You're absolutely correct. Bling says whoever it was didn't want to part with it. They wanted to know where it was so they could come back to it later. Absolutely possible. Yes, I say this all the time. Dave says criminals do dumb things. Thankfully, you are correct. Thank goodness that they, like you said, thankfully they do. They do stupid stuff. Berling says, is the backpack the perps trophy? No, they found the backpack. The backpack was found. That's what they found years after, or I can't remember. I don't think it's in that article. A few years after, maybe 10 years, 8 to 10 years after Asha disappeared is when they, I'm assuming, because I said they found it, I believe, if I remember correctly, once again, they found it at a construction site buried. So I'm going to assume that the construction workers had maybe been digging. That's how they found the backpack. They turned it into the police. The backpack was buried. It was wrapped in 2 plastic trash bags and buried. And it was found, I think, once again, if I remember correctly, 30 to 40 miles away from the Deadman's property, or their house, and where Asha lived in that general area, it was 30 to 40 miles away. So the backpack is the only thing that they found with the shirt and the book, and I'm assuming Asha's clothes. Dave says the green, yeah, that green car. The green car looks like a model cop car Steve used to arrest people in. I'm trying to let me see if I can this article I did find pictures. They did have a picture of the car. Let me see if I can find it, and I'll try to maybe it'll let me share my screen. Hold on, let me search for it right quick. 1 second. Try not to send us into a dumpster fire. Oh my goodness, nothing wants, okay. You're picking on my keyboard. I'm trying to find a picture of the car because I did, in a couple of the articles I found, oh, it would help if I go to images. Hold on. Yes, to me it was oh, here it is. Okay. Let me go back over here, share my screen. Remove that for a minute. Share screen. See if it'll come up. Okay, so on the very, I don't know if you can see where my cursor is, but on the very top row, the 3rd picture from the left, that is the car that they took from the property. They said, I think it was an AMC Rambler. I've heard of Ramblers, but yeah, to me, it's a very distinctive shape. Something that even back in 2000, you wouldn't. I would think, at least around where I live, you wouldn't see that kind of car unless you were at which I love to go, our family loves to go to, classic car shows. You wouldn't see that kind of, every great once in a while, like I said, you may see an older vehicle like that, but no, definitely nothing you would see on a regular basis on the streets. Trying to see if there's any closer pictures. Oh, here's one. I don't know if I can make it bigger. I don't know if you can see that. I made it, try to make it bigger. Oh, they won't make it bigger on the screen. That's a better picture of it. So yeah, it's a very, very distinct car. But I think when the witness, whoever the witness was that gave the description of the car, when they finally, after years and years and years, came forward with the information that they possibly saw Asha getting pulled into a green late model, car. They said it was close enough to the description. I don't know if they meant just because it was green or the body type or whatever the case may be. But that is a car that they took from the Deadman's home or their property. That's also a good point, which I don't know because Mitzi says, could the shirt have been a hand-me-down of older sisters as she took it because she liked it? My younger sister borrowed, yeah, many of my things. Did they check this? Just wondering. I'm trying to think. Once again, I'm trying to go through my mental sticky notes. I'm trying to think. I know. I'm mostly certain that she had an older brother, because the older brother, and I don't know how much older he was than Asha, apparently they shared a bedroom, which, if you let your mind, if this is true, if you let your mind go in a certain direction, once again, I'm not saying because I don't know, but I just had the thought pop in my head. If you let your mind go in a certain direction, if I remember correctly, she shared a bedroom with her older brother. Once again, I don't know if they ever said, or I don't remember much older he was. And that he was the one, he said, according to him, that he heard her bed creaking, the springs or whatever creaking, when she got out of bed at 3 or 4 in the morning, or very late, early in the morning. But I don't know. So now, since that thought popped in my head, I just can't get it out. Once again, I'm not going to elaborate, but if you let your mind go in a certain direction. But I don't know, to answer your question or not answer your question, I don't know if she had any older sisters or siblings other than the brother that was in the house, apparently in the same room. That is a good question. Dave is probably making a reference that I'm totally not getting. Dave said Underhill as in the Fletch Underhills. You're probably referencing something that's going right over my head. Yeah, Mitzi said that would explain someone else's DNA on that shirt. The DNA that they found on the shirt was what they called it. In all the articles I read, they referred to it as an undershirt. So I'm just going back to I know back in my day what a girl's undershirt looked like. It's basically like a tank top. The hair stem that belonged to one of the Deadman daughters, that was the DNA that was found on her undershirt. So, but that could explain, absolutely, like you said, that would explain someone else's. Once again, just theorizing. If the New Kids on the Block shirt did belong to one of the Deadman daughters and was put in the same bag as Aisha's closed, definitely transfer. I mean, in my thinking, once again, I'm not a professional. That's just what I've tried to learn. There's Miss Dandy. Hello, Miss Dandy. She's saying hi to everybody. Hello, Dandy. I don't know how far back on. Maybe 20 minutes behind in comments. It's always good to have Miss Dandy Linus here. Right. Yes, going back to, I keep wanting to call him Russell Underhill. Bling says, I have to look to see when he went into the facility. Yes, he passed away in 2004. So, so it's possible, but if only assisted living, they can still have access to vehicles and come and go. Yes, that's true. Yes. Yes. So he passed away, yeah, I believe you're right, in 2004. So that was just 4 years after, I say just, that's 4 years after, because Aisha went missing in 2000, February of 2000. Yes, I would like to know, how long he had been under the care or in their facilities, the Dedmans facilities. Absolutely. Dandy says her autocorrect is slaying. That is true. Once again, absolutely. Words of wisdom from Mr. Steve. Going back to, I forgot. I'm sorry. I apologize. I forget who was mentioning it. About the trophies. It was either Bling or somebody. Sorry, I can't remember. Mr. Steve says offenders and their trophies, even where buried, can have a special meaning to an offender to relive experiences. Absolutely. Absolutely. We can always count on words of wisdom, knowledge, because he is a professional about these things. Yes, absolutely. Bling says, obviously very true, Mr. Steve. She says, I'll have to look around and see if there's any connection to the burial site. Absolutely. Yes. Because like I said, if I'm correct, and once again, I could be totally thinking about another case, but I believe it was found buried back in 2000, or no, whenever they found it. No, so it had been after 2000. Whenever it was found at a construction site. So I'm just assumed, like I said earlier, that they were digging in course of doing this construction, and that's how they dug it up maybe and found it. It'll be very interesting to know if they had any connection to that property. And I'm trying to think if that property or where they found the bag was between this Highway 18 or 8 or whatever it was, if it was between the Dedman's house or where Aisha was last seen and the assisted living facility, or if it was past. It was somewhere, like I said, I think 30 to 40 miles away from their properties where Aisha was last seen at, if these two witnesses were correct, saying that they saw her walking down the highway. But yes, I would definitely, that is an excellent point. Yes, Paula says she was born in 79, grew up with the New Kids. Yeah, I was born in 71. So that's why I say I was a little bit on the older end of the New Kids on the Block fans. She grew up with New Kids on the Block, so she knows them and their fan base. Absolutely. She says she is possibly a New Kids expert. My baby sister-in-law, she loved New Kids on the Block because it was with her and some of her age friends that I went when they were years ago. They came to Memphis when they were all doing that mixtape tour. That's when we got to see them live, or the first time I had seen them live. Mr. Steve says he is a music expert on all the New Kids on the Block kids music. Did you listen to New Kids on the Block, Mr. Steve? Or maybe Baby Steve did. I don't know how old Baby Steve is. Uh, I love me some New Kids on the Block, and I'm telling you, not to get off topic, but a little bit, but when we saw them, and it's been, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Like I said, I never got to see them back in the day when I was, when a typical New Kids on the Block, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old. So I don't know what their stage performance entailed. But let's just say when we saw them, now that they're all grown up and most of their fan base is grown up, they most definitely, I'm assuming, adjusted their things they do in their stage performance to their older fans, female fans. I enjoyed it immensely. Let's just put it that way, especially Donnie Wahlberg. But not to get off, I digress. Not to get off topic too bad. Welcome, John Paul Hansen Music, as I usually know him as. Welcome, welcome. And if somebody wants to throw John Paul's link in there to his music channel, most absolutely you can, if somebody hasn't done it already. And Mr. Steve's link and Dave's link and anybody's that we haven't thrown in already, or we can throw them in again. Oh, Miss Barbara is that a challenge, Miss Barbara, to Mr. Steve? She says that True Crime Web, name a song, please. Would like to look one up. I'm trying to think. My favorite New Kids song was always "Hanging Tough." You got "Hanging Tough." You got "The Right Stuff." You got I'm trying to think of the other. Those two have been on my favorites, especially "Hanging Tough." Yes, that is mostly true. Mr. Steve says that Miss Barbara, if it has "girl" in the title, they sing it. That is mostly true. They have at least one or two that, like, I'm gonna have to look up a thing. Y'all gonna get me on music now. I'm gonna have to look up a list of New Kids on the Block songs. For some reason, the only two that are coming to my mind right now, and y'all probably discussed it, and I'm behind, is "Hanging Tough," "The Right Stuff." Oh, what is the one that Donnie sang? Did it have "girl" in it? I won't say "Candy Girl," but that's probably a whole different. Yeah, but yeah, they had songs with "girl" in the title. Miss Bling is on it. She says, I missed a lot. I'm going to have to go through this again with my notebook so I can keep everything straight. I know. I had to go brush up a little bit on my, I guess I can quit sharing my screen here. There we go. I had to brush up and go to Wikipedia, or, which Wikipedia is not the most reliable most of the times, but they do have some information. But yeah, I had to look up, familiarize myself with the circumstances of her disappearance, when they found the book bag, just to refresh my memory, to try to see if I could make any connections in my little pea brain to anything that they said about the Deadmans or Underhill, or where, they were searching. But a lot of stuff actually makes sense now. The shirt, the New Kids on the Block shirt, I can definitely, in my head, theorizing, make a connection with the daughters. The library book, like I said, I can see Asha, because I said it wasn't checked out by her, but I can see her had a friend. Hey, I did it with my friends all the time when I was in, especially grade school, because I could read, back then, a Dr. Seuss book, read it in like, 20 minutes or less. We would switch, because we usually, when we checked them out back in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, you got to keep them, I think, for a week, because we had library day one day a week where we turned in our book for the week and could check out another one. So I can see her switching, hey, with a friend, hey, you take this one, I'll take this one, and then we'll hand them back in next week or whenever. So I could kind of see how the library book kind of make a connection, or a theory about why she had a book that was not checked out by her. But the New Kids on the Block shirt, I always wondered about that. So to me, that the sisters being teenagers, to me, that will make sense with the New Kids on the Block shirt. Now, once again, I'm not saying, because I don't know, but that's just a conclusion that I would draw, or the assumption. And I know, we all know what they say about assuming, but Yeah, Dandy says, knowing what goes on these days, I'm concerned for some of these older unsolved cases. Absolutely. Because these kind of things did go on back in the day, but back then you just didn't hear about it as much because there wasn't, depending on how far back you go, there wasn't internet. So as far as finding, like they do, unfortunately these days, finding these predators, finding these little girls online and then luring them out of the house somehow, that absolutely happens these days. But back in the day before, I mean, you just had what I call the creeper on the street, and the stereotypical in the white van or whatever, a van creeping down the street and luring little girls over with candy or a puppy or whatever. But yeah, it definitely happened. Like I said, it was done differently the way they were lured, and we just didn't hear about it back then because no internet, no 24-hour news cycles like they are now. So it's scary, very scary. Oh, Bling says she has never, honestly, never heard a New Kids on the Block song. So apparently you weren't a New Kids on the Block fan. That's okay. I said they were kind of, I don't know, I would call nowadays maybe one of my guilty pleasures, because back then especially when I was older, they weren't the normal music that I would listen to on a regular basis, but maybe because, like I said, my baby sister and my baby brother were, together or not together back when, so I listened to all that, and they were 8.5, 9 years younger than me. So I did kind of, maybe that's where I got my like for New Kids on the Block, but I was listening to the hair bands. Because late 80s, early 90s was when the hair bands were, before grunge came around. The hair bands were what took over, and that's what I'd always loved anyway, was the rock, hard rock, heavy metal, and then you had the, Bon Jovi and Motley Crue and Great White and all those hair bands. But yeah, I guess that's where I got my New Kids on the Block, was from my younger, soon to be, or not soon to be, but when they were dating, not dating back in the day. Oh goodness. Now Miss Barbara's talking about Girls Gone Wild. Easy. Oh goodness. I'm trying to get caught up in comments. Oh, Dandy's telling Bling to research something. Research them. Oh, you're talking about New Kids on the Block, Dandy? She says, I lived through that as a teenager. Good times, but I'm over it. I don't know if you're talking about New Kids on the Block or if I miss a lot of comments sometimes. Yes, absolutely. Miss Paula says their fan base was all preteens and teenage girls back in that time, 2000. Yes. I mean, like I said, it's possible that, at 9 years old, I guess you could have at least heard of New Kids on the Block, but, her being only 9 years old and them coming out and saying that New Kids shirt did not belong to Asha, yeah, that just leads me to believe it belonged to somebody else. And if it didn't belong to her mother, if she did not have an older sibling, sister or brother, I mean, it's possible that a guy would like New Kids on the Block, but mostly, they're obviously they're a boy band, so female fans, but yeah. Oh, you're talking about the Midnight Rider? I like that song. And Missy says, talking about the Midnight Rambler lyrics in the song. I remember. I'm old. I remember Midnight Rider. Now there may have been something with a Midnight Rambler in it. Oh, who's saying the Midnight Rider? Was it Almond? I'm gonna have to look it up. Somebody look it up for me. Almond Brothers or and I can't think of who sings Midnight Rider. I'm wanting to say Almond Brothers band, but I'm probably wrong. Yeah. Dandy's says I'm talking to Bling. I'm pretty sure them. Oh yeah, I love Backstreet Boys too. Because I guess there's was always either you were a Backstreet Boys fan or a New Kids on the Block fan. You couldn't be both. I was both. Anyway, Danny said, New Kids and Backstreet Boys are some of the first OG boy bands. Yes, it's hilarious as a middle-aged adult. No offense to anyone. Yeah, see, I'm like, but like I said, I was on the older end of the fans. But welcome, Holly. Good to have you here. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm so behind in comments. Welcome, ma'am. Good to have you here. Oh, there we go. Mr. Steve's got it. Yeah, Mr. Steve is on it because he said that girl was in. Yes, Cover Girl. Yes, I said Candy Girl. Cover Girl is the one that Donnie sang, I believe. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think Donnie sang Cover Girl. Don't Go Girl. Yes. Valentine Girl. Stop It Girl. I remember Cover Girl. I like that one. Yes. I that proves my point that I'm the older fan. Miss Paula says if you're a rebel, or what she says, if you're a rebel, which yes, I was a rebellious teenager. If you're a rebel, you're a fan of Donnie, Danny, and Jordan. Donnie's always been my favorite. The best dancers of the group. His brother, yes, I remember Jonathan Knight. Jonathan is known to be the best dresser. And yes, and if you were young, Joey, who I believe is the youngest of the group, was your favorite. That is it. Miss Paula summed it up in a nutshell. Thank you, Miss Paula. So I guess I was a rebel because Donnie is my favorite. Yep, Miss Paula said Joey is the youngest. Absolutely. Yes, Miss Barbara says Cover Girl is a makeup. Yes, absolutely. But they did have a song, yeah, Cover Girl. I would sing it, but y'all don't want me to do that. She's my cover girl. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna stop singing. I just embarrassed myself. Mr. Steve is laughing, probably Miss Barbara. Yep. Now we're doing Cover Girl. Could also be a model in a magazine. Absolutely. Oh, I got you. I got you, Mitzi. Mitzi says Midnight Rambler, not the New Kids song, referring to the green car. Gotcha. Yes, because it was an AMC Rambler. I got you. I got you. Yes, Mr. Steve. Yes, Missy says Mr. Steve's on a roll tonight. Absolutely. We love Mr. Steve. That is the question. Mr. Steve, do you dance with your creepy mannequins? I won't call them your dolls like some other people do. Your mannequins, your creepy mannequins. No, Mr. Steve, in all seriousness, does some excellent recreations and experiments with his creepy mannequins. I think the creepiest one you did was when you were, I think it was when he was doing something for Kohlberger, Brian Kohlberger, Idaho 4Ks, and he had it on a little dolly thing and had the face covered up and was pulling it probably with a string or a rope through the house with a knife in its hand. Oh, that gave me nightmares for weeks. That gave me nightmares for weeks. It was cool. It was an excellent recreation, but it gave me the absolute nightmares. I could not sleep. And please, in all seriousness, do check out a True Crime Web. Absolutely, if you haven't already. If anybody's new here. Yeah, Miss Paula says Donnie would at the time pick a young girl out of the crowd about Aisha's age and sing to them. There's a concert with a young girl dancing on stage. Yes, I remember that. Like I said, it's entirely possible that a 9-year-old could be a fan of New Kids on the Block, but just the fact that they said it was not her shirt and that the possible suspect persons of interest family had 3 teenage daughters aging from 13 to 17 or 18. To me, that makes the New Kids on the Block shirt make sense. But that's just me. Yes. Going back to, I was talking about their stage presentation. Paula says they do mostly all adult music now. Yes, I mean, they do their old songs, but they definitely have tailored their, let's say, their moves on stage. They have definitely tailored it to their now grown adult female audience. Like I said earlier, I enjoyed it immensely. Oh, Dandy says she doesn't want to see Mrs. Steve on something for slaying them. Oh, I missed something. Oh, okay, I got you. Paula was talking about Jonathan. Yeah, okay, yeah, I remember that. Thank you, Miss Dandy. As always, has got Mr. Steve's link in there. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. Miss Barbara said her kids, who were two boys, liked them at the time or when they were little, but because the girls liked them. And the boys like the girls. Absolutely. I know what you're saying, Miss Barb. Thank you, thank you. There is, oh, I covered it up. I couldn't read it. There is Dave out on the prowl. Please do check Dave out too. Oh, I thought about that too, Dave. Okay, hold on. I always forget to turn my camera back on. Dave says, is it possible, or it's possible that the girls had it out for Asha? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because see, that's why I was wondering about the, and I don't know how, so I don't, Aisha was 9, the youngest Deadman girl was 13, so they would have been the closest in age. If they had elementary, middle school, and high school, would a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old be in the same either elementary, middle, or high? It wouldn't be high school for Aisha. Maybe middle school. I don't know, 9 years old. No, elementary. Would they have been in the same school building, either elementary or middle school, most likely elementary, in the same building to know each other for either, as Dave said, maybe she had it, her and Aisha had disagreements, and that's what happened. Because like I said, here in this small town I grew up in, we had elementary school, 1st through 6th, and then you went across the road, high school, 7th through 12th. But that, I thought about that too. That has been mentioned also, Dave. Yep. Donnie, yes, is now married to Jenny McCarthy. Yes. And he is on, well, I'm a season or two behind in Blue Bloods, but he's on, I love Blue Bloods, the TV show. He's on there. Mr. Steve said, I will have to check out lyrics of New Kids in the Block song to see if there's a New Kids in the Block song and Aisha parallel. Bling says she thinks she was just a little girl when New Kids on the Block were big. Just, I don't know how old you are. It just depends on how old you are. Like I said, I'm 53, and I was on the older end of the New Kids fans back in the day. But my baby sister-in-law and my brother were, and she listened to New Kids. Therefore, my brother and whoever was with her listened to New Kids, which I didn't mind. They are about 8.5, 9 years younger than me. So I think that's where my liking, because they listened to she listened to, her and her friends listened to New Kids, Backstreet Boys, all the boy bands back in the day. Yes. I would encourage anybody who has the money to spare, whatever, to become for one, if subscribing, definitely subscribe to Mr. Steve's channel. But if you do memberships to channels, definitely do a membership to Mr. Steve for one. Like Dandy said, the members only live streams, or what did you say they were? Fire and fun. Yes, absolutely. I mean, his regular live streams for everybody are spot on and amazing. Members only, they're something, a whole different animal. They are absolutely worth the membership just for the live streams alone. Yeah, you have definitely been a lot on the young side. Bling said she was 4 when New Kids started. Yeah, You missed out on a little bit young for the new kids. Which did your parents listen to New Kids? They may have been. I'm trying to do math in my head about how old your parents would be then. I'm not good at math, especially doing it in my head. Yep. So Bling is doing the math. Thank you, because I can't do it. She says, so New Kids on the Block started in 1988. Yes, it was probably an adult that had the shirt when she went missing in 2000. She went missing, yeah. Possible. But I just keep going back to the three teenage girls, 13 and 15 or 16. I think the oldest one was 17 or 18. But yeah, girls, their mom, all of it's possible. Absolutely. Thank you. Are you going back to Midnight Rider? It was Allman Brothers. Was I right? I was actually right for something. Yes, absolutely. Dandy says, I sometimes have to laugh to keep from crying, learning about some of these cases. I feel you, ma'am. I'm the same way. Miss Paula says, I love both. Are you talking about, I mentioned, get my boy bands mixed up, New Kids and Backstreet Boys. I like both too. I probably like New Kids better, but I still listen to both of them. Probably my favorite song by Backstreet is Everybody. I just love the song. I love the video because they did the like the vampire. One was a vampire. One of them was a werewolf. They did all the like the universal, what I call the universal monsters. Horror movie, you know, vampire. One was a vampire. One was a werewolf. One was. And I'm trying to see the video in my head, but yeah, I love that video. Miss Barbara said hers is the Doobie Brothers. I love some Doobie Brothers too. Taking It to the Streets. I hear you, Miss Barb. I know that one's special to you. All right, Dave is. I hope you're parked somewhere, Dave. He may be home by now. It's just 11. Dave said they searched 3 different properties last. The Deadmans. Thank you, Dave. I knew that they had searched. I can't remember if it's 1 or 2 of their houses, and I don't know if they've. And I think one of maybe the Northbrook rest home or whatever it's called was the 3rd property they searched. I know they searched one of the assisted living facilities that they owned back then. Now I'm ready for tomorrow night or Sunday morning for Dave to do his live, so I can be in there and see what he has dug up about Aisha's case, because I think he can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he said, because I think I had to watch Replay Crew on his one last week because I think I fell asleep before he got on, or he did a community post maybe when this information came out, and he said he was going to be talking about her case. So definitely join us if you're a night owl or an early bird. Early Sunday morning, it's usually around 11:30ish or midnight-ish Central Time. So Dave's on the East Coast, so that would be 12:30, 1 o'clock his time, Eastern Time. Oh, okay. Allman Brothers. Yes, I'm getting my ramblings confused. Allman Brothers did Ramblin' Man. So I'm gonna have to look up who sang Midnight Rider. Hold on. Give me 1 second. And I love that. I hate it when I'm getting old, because whenever I try to think of, why will that not go away? A song name or a band name or who sang a song, my mind goes blank on me. Oh, they did Midnight. They did. Allman Brothers did Midnight. I was right too. Midnight. They did Midnight Rider too. So we were both right. So they did Midnight Rider and Ramblin' Man. Okay, I'm confused. I'm confusing myself. All right, so I was right for once about who sang a particular song. Yes, Dandy, I did put in the creepy part. Dandy says, I did not say creepy. I said mannequins. Yes, I said creepy. They are creepy. But yes, it's a little odd. Don't tell Mr. Steve I said that. Okay, it's our little secret. We won't tell Mr. Steve. Nobody will tell Mr. Steve. See, I love that. Mitzi said, I'm from the good music era, late 60s and 70s. And Mr. Steve gave us all nightmares with those mannequins. I'm telling you. For one, yes, I do love it. Definitely love 60s music, 70s. Anything that wasn't disco in the 70s, if it was rock music, I liked it. And yes, Mr. Steve definitely gave me this girl nightmares with her, with his creepy mannequins. Oh, Mr. Steve is researching. He says, a rambling man has the Georgia connection. Okay, Miss Barb says, 9 years old would be 5th grade, she believes. Yeah. Yeah, 4th, 5th grade. Yeah, because usually what, about 5 or 6 for kindergarten? Back in that. I'm going back to when I was it may be different now. Yeah, yeah, 4th, 5th grade. So I don't know. Like I said, I didn't grow up having elementary, middle, and 3 different elementary, middle, and high school. So with a 9-year-old who's in 5th grade and a 13-year-old who was the youngest, Deadman daughter was 13 at the time, would they have been in the same elementary, middle school at the same time with that 4-year age difference? That's what I'm trying to figure out, trying to reason in my head, and it's not working. Because like I said, in mine, it was elementary 1st through 6th, and then high school 7th through 12th. Okay, Mitzi says the Rolling Stones sang the Midnight Rambler song. Thank you, ma'am. I like the Stones. I mean, I'm not like, I don't know every single one of their songs, but I'm a kind of in between a casual listener of the Stones and like a diehard fan. I kind of in the middle. Yeah. Miss Miranda says she has the highest membership to True Crime Web. It is the best channel. Yes, I think True Crime Web, Mr. Steve and Mrs. Steve and everybody involved in True Crime Web and True Crime Web Foundation. I think that's the only channel that I am a pay membership for. It's well worth it. Well worth it. There may be one other, but I'm definitely True Crime Web. Yeah, Dandy, I don't think you saw it. We'll just leave it up there for a minute. Okay, get a look. See, said Bad Company. I love Bad Company too. Absolutely. Yeah, Miss Barbara said girls are mean. Absolutely, and I see where you're getting at. Yep. Because I'm behind, so I'm going to assume you're going to go back to whoever made the comment, or was it Dave that said possibly one of the girls could have had her and Aisha could have had some problems. Yes, unfortunately girls can be vicious. Boys, to me, that age, teenagers, they're just rambunctious and stupid. Not to be mean, but boys are just rambunctious, and I mean, boys can be mean too, but with teenage, preteen, even preteen girls nowadays and younger are just absolutely a different animal. It's scary, vicious. That I think I remember you saying this before. That would be an excellent concert. Dandy says her first concert when she was 9 was Whitesnake, one of my favorite bands of all time, and Bad English. It's a pretty good first concert. Mr. Steve says when he thinks of first boy bands, he sees the Jackson 5. Yep, they were definitely a boy band. I love the Jackson 5. Yes, the Everybody video. Yeah, I was trying to think of all the characters they did. One of them was a vampire. One of them was a werewolf. One of them was maybe Phantom of the Opera or some kind of. I see one with the top hat and the cape or something. Yep, I love that video. Danny said, yeah, they had Janet though. Janet Jackson, yeah. Yep. Yep. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Miss Paula is on the East Coast too. She says it's 12:10 when she did that comment. So I'm about 8 minutes behind. Yeah, Janet did come later. Janet wasn't part of the 5. It was the boys, the 5 of the boys or the 5 boys. And one of them, no, it was the dad. No, Tito. I think Tito just passed away a couple of days ago. I think I remember them saying something on the news. I think it was Tito or one of them passed away. I was going back to say their dad, but I think Joe passed away a few years ago. Their dad, their manager dad. Yep, Dandy's in Colorado, so she's an hour behind Central Time. She's 10:10. Oh, you're one of the mods of that channel, Miss Paula? Oh, I was about to lose all my comments. I pushed something. I don't know what I pushed. Yeah, I remember Janet from, I liked her music when she came out in the 80s. Now, I know she did stuff earlier than that. But I listened to Janet and when she came out in the, late 70s or early or mid to late 80s, whenever it's like her and Paula Abdul and when all the girls, the ladies were doing their solo stuff. Yeah, Janet, you had Paula Abdul around the same time. You had trying to think of someone Mariah Carey might be in a little bit after. I know definitely Janet was before. Janet and Paula Abdul were a little bit before Mariah. I've never been a big Mariah Carey fan. And she's got that stupid Christmas song. I hate that song. And it's getting about time that people are going to start playing Christmas songs. So I'm going to have to try not to hear it. Oh goodness, a whole batch of comments popped up. I'm trying to get my computer screen where I can read it better. Let me get a drink. Sorry if you heard me slurping on my drink. I tried to be quiet. All right, getting caught up. Uh-oh. Oh my goodness. I had to reread that. Mr. Steve says, the first grade was the worst 4 years of my life. Oh, Mr. Steve. See, I'm just getting in on the joke here. I'm behind. I'm almost caught up. I'm about 5 to 10 minutes behind now. Oh, Mr. Steve is funny. Oh, I love this. Y'all cracking me up. Dandy says, sorry to hear that, Mr. Steve. It took you 4 years to graduate from first grade. That's tough. How many passes in kindergarten, though? Oh, goodness. I'm trying to think because I know I went to what they called back when I was kindergarten age to what they called a private kindergarten because I don't even, when I was that age, I think it's before they had kindergartens in all of the public schools. Now, in some of the bigger cities or towns, they might have, but the little hamlet I live in, they didn't even, back when I was kindergarten age, they didn't have I keep wanting to say daycare, but kindergarten, which kind of basically is what daycare or kindergarten is daycare sometimes. We had Miss Grace was my kindergarten teacher, private. It was in her home. all the little wooden school desks set up in her whatever room it was in, and she had a little playground out in her yard with some monkey bars. I remember the monkey bars. I don't remember what else. Probably swings, but I remember the monkey bars because I used to fall off them all the time. That probably explains a lot of what's wrong with me. I fell on my head a lot. Yes, she is definitely going to Aisha. Absolutely a beautiful. Dave says beautiful little girl. Just a shame. I know. Once again, innocent until proven guilty, and I definitely want them to be sure and find the right person who actually, whether it be an accident or foul play, homicide. I want them to find the right person, the actual offender, but I'm so hoping that they find, if the Deadmans or Underhill had anything to do with it, I hope they can find enough evidence. That's why I was asking or talking about earlier with Mr. Steve, if they need to find something else to go along with just that DNA that gave them that Mr. Steve said the DNA gave them the probable cause to search the Deadman's properties and seized like obviously the car, a whole for lack of a better load, a whole buttload of they took one of the girls. I don't know if it was a 13-year-old or one of the girls had a BlackBerry phone. Those were very popular back in the late 90s, early 2000s. They found the BlackBerry phone. They took it. They took numerous CDs, not SIM cards, memory cards or whatever you call them. Memory cards like you put in cameras and things of that nature. They seized a bunch of CDs, memory cards, hard drives, or whatever computers had back in that time. They took a lot of stuff out of those properties. So I'm hoping if they had anything to do with it, they get enough where they can actually charge someone with homicide, if that is the case. Yes, so you're absolutely right. Dandy says social media is raising our children. What could go wrong? Preach it. That's what I preach all the time. I mean, I may be old-fashioned, fuddy-duddy, but if I had, which I've helped raise nieces and nephews, I don't have kids of my own, but I've helped raise plenty of kids. If I had kids of my own, they would not have access. They would not have their own cell phone. They would not have access to internet until they were at least 16, preferably, if it was my opinion, 18, because it is just so, these days, it is just so dangerous. I mean, the internet, if it is used correctly, can do a lot of good and be used in good ways. But unfortunately, internet and social media have just been taken over by either, in my opinion, the crazy people and the nefarious people, the predators, and it's just ruined it for everybody. So I agree, Dandy. I hear you. Yeah, Mitzi said, scary. Glad her sons are grown. Absolutely. Oh, Mr. Steve, I may have missed him. He had to leave. Good night, everyone. Long day tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Steve. I don't know if he's still listening, but always a pleasure to have Mr. Steve here. All right, I'm going to get caught up in comments, and we're going to get out of here. Almost 3 hours. We're doing good. Steve, or Dave is going to tell Mr. Steve, rat somebody out to Mr. Steve. Oh, about Dandy's comment. Dandy didn't say nothing. Nothing at all. Uh-oh. Bling had to leave too. She's got to go find the cat. Snuck outside before it started storming. Good night. Thank you, Bling, for being here. She's probably already gone too. Thank everybody. I thank everybody for being here. Miss Barbara's telling Dave, don't be a stitch. Well, they say snitches get stitches. Yeah, Miss Barbara said, don't be stitch. I can't say that fast. Stitch snitching. Oh, Dave is going to be in trouble. No snitches around here. Oh, God. You are killing me. Now Dandy's talking about doxing the nest. She's gonna dox the nest. She is gonna dox Dave, dox the nest. Hey, I've only said Dave's first name, which he has freely gives out, and that he's on the East Coast. Obviously, I do not know exactly where. I'm still trying to think. I don't know if he's in. I know he's in the upper East Coast, northeast, I believe, or at least that's what he says. So I can't rat Dave out. I don't know exactly where he's at. You got some good taste. Dave says Bad Company is his favorite band. Paul Rogers. Yep. Yes. Thank you, Dave. From the guy in here, unless there's somebody else in here that's not commenting or that I don't know as a guy, says boys are dumb at any age. Thank you. And I was not trying to be when I said earlier that preteen or just little boys, preteen boys, teenage boys, they're just rambunctious and dumb. I mean, I say that lovingly. I do. But girls, yes, girls are a different breed. Girls at any age are vicious. I mean, it is scary. There's Aquarian One. Welcome. Hi, Southern Gal. Hello. I signed the petition. Thank you so much. Justice for Timmy Dees with the green heart. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Right, see if I have anything else. Sorry, had to get a drink. My voice is about to go on me after 3 hours. So today is technically it's still Friday, right? So Saturday and Sunday I'm going to be watching football. So we'll be back Monday, unless something life happens. We'll have our normal Missing Person Monday live stream, same time around 8:15 Central Time. And I think we're doing the last state we had to do in the southern region, according to Charlie Project, I believe is West Virginia, because we did Washington, D.C. this past Monday. So West Virginia will be, I believe, our next state that we feature Monday, this coming Monday for Missing Person Monday. So please, if you're able, be there live. Absolutely love to have you there live. But we love our replay crew. Our replay crew rocks. So I appreciate replay. So if you can't be here live, please do catch the replay. And then trying to figure out schedules. Next week, I'll probably be able to do a live stream sometime during the week after the Missing Person Monday. So maybe Wednesday, Thursday, sometime next week, we'll do a live about something. Either missing, true crime news. We still got to do, I promise Miss Paula and everybody else. I know that West Memphis 3 is a popular case that everybody likes to talk about and have their input on. So I think the next West Memphis that I plan to do was on the alternate suspects or alternate theories. So we may do that if everybody's down for something or up for something. Down or up, whichever you may be, for something during the week. So please do let me know in the chat or in, you can always email me. Let me find. That's not what I'm looking for. Banners. Oh, I forgot to put my ticker up. Oh, well. You can either email me, Southern Gal True Crime at hotmail.com. For suggestions for any lives, videos, cases, missing persons that I haven't featured or you would like me to feature. You can email me. If you're on Facebook, you can get in touch with me on Facebook in the group through Messenger. Or if you don't do any of that, if you just do YouTube, just comment on any of my live streams or videos that I've already done. I get all notifications for anytime anybody comments. I do read all of them. I try to answer and react to as many as I can. Pop it in any live stream suggestion for a subject for a live, like I said, or a video for missing missing persons cases, whatever you guys want to talk about, or a case that you guys know of that I may not have heard of, which is a lot, unfortunately, that I can do a video or a live stream on to get more awareness. So definitely let me know. I'm here for you guys. I could not sit here and babble like I do, and you guys listen to me for what, 3+ hours now. I could not do any of it without you guys. Subscribers, members, everybody, just any random person that comes in and decides to, hey, I'm going to check her out, give her a chance. It is extremely appreciated. That's not the word I was looking for. Once again, my mind is shutting down. It is truly, truly, greatly appreciated, in all sincerity. So do please let me know. See, I've got some more comments that popped up. Let me get back down to where I was. All right. Oh, we know what you meant, Corey. Yeah, Dandy has trouble with the spell correct, or the I have trouble with this autocorrect or the auto fill in when I'm typing. Happens to me all the time. Dandy's always talking about her autocorrect. Thank you, Miss Barbara. Always a pleasure and an honor to have Miss Barbara here talking about Timmy DEES. For anybody who may be watching now or replay, Miss Barbara is Timmy's mother. She has been fighting for so long for justice for Timmy. Like I said, Mr. Steve's live stream the other night, I had to watch replay crew on that one because we were out doing a family dinner that night. But I definitely watched it as soon as I got home and got settled in. Mr. Steve did a live stream on Timmy's updates in Timmy's case and Durante Martin's case, two very important cases that definitely need justice. Gives me some hope. Gives me some hope that things are at least moving forward. So let's everybody thoughts, prayers, and good vibes, whatever you may have, throw them Miss Barbara's way. That whole family, Miss Barbara, Miss Marianne, Mr. James, everybody. That hopefully, and for Miss Kimberly and Miss Erica, who are Durante Martin's. Miss Kimberly is his grandmother. Miss Erica is his mother. They pop in every once in a while. Please, thoughts, prayers, and good vibes to both families. That justice will come soon. Thank you very much. Absolutely. Green hearts for Timmy. Oh, see, Mitzi got to see Bad Company in concert. I would love to have seen them in concert. She said Bad Company was great in concert. Lucky I saw them, or she's talking today, but I'm gonna read it anyway. My all-time favorite in concert, Pink Floyd. I love Pink Floyd. My middle brother is a huge, huge Pink Floyd fan. He is the fan on the fan end of being every song, every lyric, he's seen Roger was it Gilmore and Rogers years ago when they toured together. I think actually both my brothers got to see them that same night. I didn't get to. And then my brother is a musician, so when he was in bands and stuff, they would always do Pink Floyd songs. So yeah, Pink Floyd. She saw them 3 times. She said she wished she would have seen Led Zeppelin live. I spent my younger years at concerts. I would, yeah. Back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, when you could get a concert ticket for what, about $15, $10. Maybe concert tickets for 15, t-shirts for 10. So if you had $25, you were good to go. You got to see the concert, you got a t-shirt. That's all we needed. Nowadays it is outrageous. But anyway, the closest I came to seeing Led Zeppelin was back in 80s, 90s, Robert Plant, when he was doing his 80s solo stuff or 90s solo stuff. He came with one of the hair bands. He was actually the opener for one of them. I can't remember who it was. Once again, I spent my youth in concerts, so. But yeah, I got to see Robert Plant. He did do some 3 or 4 Led Zeppelin songs. So that's the closest I come to seeing Led Zeppelin, which was fantastic. He was fantastic. Yes, thank you once again. Dandy says hit the like button. Absolutely. Leave your DNA on it. Smash it. Well, let's say I'm trying to think of it. Smash it. Leave your DNA. Get a sledgehammer after it. Play Peter Gabriel and do the sledgehammer. That video. Oh my God. That video for that song. And Dave says he loves Mariah Carey. Oh, I think I was a bigger. Well, no, Mariah. Okay, sorry. I love Janet Jackson. I like most of Paula Abdul stuff. Mariah, I don't know. I think it's just that Christmas song that she did, whatever it's called. I try to blank it out of my mind. They overplay it at Christmas time, and but those notes that she could reach, that pitch or whatever you call it. I'm not a singer, so I don't know. The pitch or whatever, those really, really high notes that she could hit, man, I give her that. I do. That's just unreal. Thank you, Mitzi. Mitzi says, have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you, Southern Gal. Thank you. Mods and chat. It was smiley face, fun, exciting. Thank you. Thank you, Mitzi. Good to have you here. Miss Paula is still here. Absolutely. Yes, we love Miss Barb. Dana says, I love you, Barb. Barbara, hope you get answers. Absolutely. Paula, we're doing that probably sometime this week. Because I didn't get a chance. Like I said, it's been a rough couple of weeks. September is always hard now for our family, just from things that have happened. So I didn't been spending some family time and just trying to hold everything together, but trying to hold myself together and support my family members. So I did not have time to get West Memphis 3 worked up and slideshow and everything for tonight. So we'll probably do it one day this week. I should be able to do it. We'll do West Memphis. Thank you, Miss Barbara. I love you too, dear. Thank you, Miss Barb. You're most welcome, ma'am. Thank you, Aquarian. Absolutely. Uh-oh, her phone. Thank you, Mitzi. She said her phone was acting up. Yeah, I'm gonna get caught up in these comments and get out of here because my voice is about to go and it's getting late. I know for all of us. But I absolutely thank you so much once again. Yeah, Missy said those were the days talking about concerts. Yep. It's back when you could afford. I can't afford to go to concerts now. Honestly, I have to pick and choose what concerts I go to. For one, I mean, I don't even get t-shirt hardly ever unless it's just somebody that I really, really love and that I probably will never be able to see in concert. Maybe just, one time I might buy a t-shirt if I have the money, but you spend all, anywhere from $100, which is cheap these days for a concert ticket, up to God knows how much if you get, front row. I just, back in the day, I worked, I babysat. And then when I was old enough to get a real job at 16, when we were legally allowed to work, because I had to buy my own everything. Absolutely. And I was glad to do it. But yeah, you could get a ticket for 15 or 10, a t-shirt for 15, $25, $30, you're good. So if you had $30 after you bought the ticket and they did pre-sale obviously on tickets, we had to go stand in line here at the local mall, McCain Mall is where we got our concert tickets. You had to go stand in line and actually got a paper ticket. Now you can I don't even know if they do paper tickets anymore. They have them on your phone. You just show them the phone and they scan it. But yeah, I still got a collection. I have to take pictures of some. If we do a music night again, I still have a lot of my actual paper tickets from back in the 80s and 90s of concerts. Some of the concerts I went to. Yeah, you could afford stuff. All right, I'm going to quit babbling now. I think I'm caught up. Thank you. Get a look. See, absolutely. Yeah, so once again, Monday night, Missing Person Monday, one day this week, we'll do West Memphis 3 or something. I'll try to get something together for West Memphis 3. Until then, everybody, thank you once again, everybody that's here. Thank you, everybody who's watching replay. I love each and every one of you, sincerely. Have a good weekend. I will see y'all Monday. Hold on. I should have been multitasking while I was doing this. We'll see you Monday. And then Monday, I'll let you know what we have planned for the rest of the week. I'll definitely have some videos to upload, some missing persons and some case videos, a couple to upload for you guys. So I'll be looking out for that, and I will see you again Monday. Thanks, guys.